Good call.
On there.
And we're live, guys. We are live.
We're not leaving the air tonight until Rob's at 1,000.
Oh, well, we're going to be on for a long time then.
You're only like 20-something away now.
23.
23.
Oh, come on, man. There's got to be 23 people.
I wish.
I gave you a shout out on my latest video.
I saw that.
Over there, would you please give the man a frickin' sub? Jesus.
I saw that. Thanks. We'll get there. It'll happen.
Oh yeah.
It'll happen.
Absolutely.
Should we start the over under on how late Sam's going to be?
I would say it's 4:59 here. I would say we got about 7 minutes. Someone start a timer.
7. I'm going to say, I think I'm going to say 5.
I'm going to say he's going to be here at 8:11.
I'm going to say 8:04.
You know, Sam, I think though he celebrates like a full Christmas week. Like I feel.
Oh
like.
yeah.
Like, he does not do just Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. He's going. Like he's still listening to Christmas music every day.
And
I mean, he's all in.
He's so busy with Christmas crap that they don't open their gifts till New Year's.
What?
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
What?
He's too busy to open gifts. They got no time.
Oh my God! And yet he's making time for us this evening.
Wow, we should feel
That's
privileged.
the gift that keeps giving all year.
He's a maniac. And he listens to Christmas music. And,
Yes.
Jesus, it's a poster child.
I mean, part of me thinks it's weird that he listens to Christmas music 3 days after Christmas, but he'll listen to Christmas music in the middle of July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he will.
Crazy. Oh my!
Thank you, Press the Play. Oh, you meant Rob.
Thanks, Andrew. Thought I'd be festive. It's actually my son's hat, but whatever.
I'd be in festive too. The Beatles on Christmas.
There you go.
I gotta figure out this wandering camera thing again here. This is annoying. They got it.
Oh, it's a high budget special
How
effect.
come now you're on narrow though?
I just had to leave me alone. I'm trying. My age is showing here.
That's better.
You're the youngest one except for
Now
Alex.
you're right. Now you're cinema scoping widescreen.
There you go. That's better.
I think the swing camera is great. We love it.
I love it. It adds a little je ne sais quoi to the
Je ne sais quoi.
extravaganza.
Ooh, I love it when he speaks French.
To turn on.
Je parle un peu.
That's all I know too. Maybe our French vinyl addict will be here to school us again.
Maybe.
He will be.
So was Santa good to you guys or what?
Oh, frick, spoiled me rotten, man.
Or are you Santa and therefore it's bad to you?
No, I believe in Santa. 70-year-old man who still believes in Santa Claus.
We don't. My wife and I don't.
Watching, and I think that's
If you stop believing in him, maybe the gifts stop. It's my feeling.
wife and I don't do gifts. We just spoil my son. So
I spoil all the kids, and I spoil myself too. You only live once.
That's right.
that you're
Can't
aware
take
of.
it with you. The famous line: "You never see a Brinks truck following a hearse."
That's true. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, we're live. It shouldn't be so quiet.
We got a whole 6 people watching.
Oh,
Pick up.
And then we lost Alex.
Jesus.
I gotta go close the door because my son and wife are making a lot of noise.
It's getting annoying.
What
How's the
happened, Alex?
weather up there, Jason?
Oh, super.
Is it
damp,
mild?
cold. Oh yeah, it's like 0, so it's like half rain, half snow, and
Well, that's good.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
just
know.
getting
It's
brown.
messy.
Like everything's just brown and warm. I was outside today without a jacket. Like I'm going to the
What?
store and everything with no jacket on.
What's the temperature there?
It's like 10 or something, or 7 or 8 or something.
I had
Oh my god!
I had the best Christmas day because I went to Tim Hortons. It was
yeah.
open. I got an ice cap, and the whole time I was wearing shorts.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Fantastic.
Yeah, my wife wanted to go out today. I said, I'll take it.
Wow.
I said, I know no point putting on a jacket. It's too freaking warm.
I went to Home Depot today and just had a hoodie on. It was 9 degrees.
You guys.
Yeah, it's
Wonderful.
crazy.
This was the worst Christmas day weather I had ever experienced. It was like a deluge of cold rain, like 1
Wow.
degree, pouring rain, buckets. Like the whole.
Well, you could have
province was
barbecued.
underwater.
You could have barbecued your turkey out here.
Oh wow!
Well, I know it's good. We're going to get nailed though
Oh,
one day.
here's Alex. I'll add him back in here. There he is.
Oh, Alex is
Don't
here.
worry about that. Hit the wrong button.
What's this
And-
button for?
You left and came back, and you still beat Sam.
See
I
if we all
got
can do
one
it.
more minute before I'm wrong.
Sam's probably watching at home, going, "Screw those bastards! I'll just keep watching until I feel like joining in."
Did he even say he was coming?
I think so. I don't remember.
I never really heard him say that he was in.
Maybe he's not.
Hmm.
We're just going to spend 2 hours sitting here waiting for
Yeah,
Sam
waiting,
and not
yeah.
talk about anything.
Hey, Jeff. Merry
Hey,
Christmas.
Jeff, Merry
buddy.
Christmas.
Well, we're at the almost at the 5-minute mark now for Sam.
Oof.
So I said
He's
7.
I got 8:04. I'm done. Unless he shows up in the next 20 seconds.
I had 8:11, so I'm still looking okay.
Is it like Price is Right without going over?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And the grand prize is nothing.
Trevor's here too.
Hey, Trevor.
So let's tell all the fans. What are we going to talk about tonight, boys?
Well, we're gonna chat about what we've been listening to lately. I think that was what we agreed on, wasn't it?
Yep.
What's spinning lately?
What's spinning? Yeah. I just got an Amazon delivery at about 5:45 tonight.
Saw that. I watched your video. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm more intrigued about the one you couldn't tell us about.
Well, it's only because it's got something to do with the album exchange thing I'm doing.
Ah,
Mm.
So I can't let the cat out of the bag until I record that video on the weekend.
very good.
Mm. Mm. Now my mind is going.
Yeah, because we get bonus points if we buy if somebody buys one of the CDs we recommended, we get bonus points. Oh, there's
Hey, Steve.
Steve's here.
Speaking of the album exchange,
Hello, fellas. Speaking of the album exchange,
Steve.
I had to borrow Steve's joke today on one of my videos because he did it on the live chat on the weekend. It was really funny. He goes, "Yeah, between you and Larry, you got 49,000 subs."
John's commenting on the big ball bouncing on my forehead. Well,
It's only
better
one.
to see that one bouncing than the other ones.
I thought it was, if the ones I didn't say the big ball balancing on your neck,
Right,
that would have been worse.
White and not blue. Noted.
Yeah.
right.
Marsha
Hey, Marsha.
P.
Glenn
John's
question.
here. Wow, the whole gang's here.
They got
Glenn,
nothing
are
else
you
to
going
do.
to Florida soon? Glenn,
Here we go now. What's that?
are you going to Florida soon?
Yes. January
Okay.
25th.
Okay. I'm gonna now. Marcia being in the chat reminded me. I have a gift for you, a Christmas gift, a New Year's gift,
No.
just a gift.
I hope it's not
And-
Illuminations because I just got it.
It's an ABBA record.
What I will not say what it is or what it is not. Okay?
Smart play. I like it.
But I have a gift. But I was thinking, I know, like, I wonder if I like send it to Marcia or something, if she would be able to get it to your
Well, you could send it to my daughter's place. in Florida.
daughter. Yeah, and then that way, because that way it'll cost me $5 to ship instead.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like
You don't want to do that
$25
in
to
Canada.
ship.
No, it's kill you. Yeah, I'll email you my daughter's address.
Who had
Did you-
807? Who had 807? It's Sam
I did.
from the
Damn,
hair
I
salon.
lost.
Woo!
Thanks, Sam. You just cost me $20, buddy.
20
Yes.
bucks. Wow. Is
Yeah,
that what I'm-
I
is that
guess
what
you'd
I'm
be
worth?
on at 8:04. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Well, see, I forgot tonight. They're showing the Kennedy Center honor, and they're going to honor Barry Gibb. So I kind of had that on.
Oh,
in the background.
Jesus.
Well,
I can
get
hardly
your
wait to look
priorities
at that.
straight. We're more important.
Honoring
than
Barry
Gibb.
Gibb. Oh,
Yeah, I'll listen. I'll listen to
Painful
real.
that.
I'll listen to real music like Barry Gibb. Yeah.
jeez. Is it a Christmas special?
Before the morning.
Jeez. We're 8 minutes in, and Alex is already singing.
Sam's jealous of Barry's hair. That's probably right.
Well, let me ask you: why are we? No offense to Rob, but why are we on Rob's channel here?
Because
Well,
Glenn was
because you and
originally
I were
supposed to be
going
working.
to do a Dylan video, and I need my StreamYard space to be able to do that.
Mm.
So
Are you saying
You're
that
only
this
allowed
is
so
any
many hours
different
a
than being
month.
on Glenn's channel, or what?
Say that again.
Are you saying that this is any less quality than being on Glenn's channel?
Well, no, because you're in a hat. So I mean, like a Santa hat. So the quality has obviously gone up.
Right. I figured I'd be festive, right?
You should be.
Rob
yeah.
does a fantastic job hosting. I wish even when it's on my channel, I should let him host.
Oh, come on. No, I don't want that pressure.
He is the hostess with the mostest.
No.
Yeah.
Alex, your tree is off there.
Well, it's after Christmas, Sam.
Aw.
James Wilson says, I like early Bee Gees. I do too, up until 1970 or something. And then after that, man, once they got into that Saturday Night Fever stuff, I am out. Oh,
I think Alex should go plug his tree and make it more festive. It'll match my hat.
freaking horrid.
Yeah, you actually are right. It should be on right now.
It
Hold,
should.
please.
It should.
Sam, show your tree again. That's pretty friggin' nice.
Oh yeah, I keep it homey here.
Oh my
That's
God.
the view you need, Sam. Keep the camera there.
Yeah.
you know?
why don't you just-
I could get out of the picture too.
Well,
That's-
no.
Nice.
Yes, better ideas. Like look how
See, there we go.
well-decorated
Now
you
we're
are.
festive. We got a couple Christmas trees and
Wait a minute.
Santa
Too much
hat.
Christmas in there.
See the
And then we
issue
got an old guy like Santa Claus.
with a bowl full of jelly.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Your apartment looks really festive, Sam. It looks really
It
nice.
does.
Well, thank
Really
you.
nice.
I like the lights around the entranceway to your music room there.
Yeah, those lights will stay up. They stay up all year. Because
Yeah,
when-
Bob Dylan ornament.
when the tree comes down, like, I don't like there to be nothing in here.
Oh, okay.
So you haven't been here since I put those up. I put those up last Christmas and just kept them.
Oh, yeah, they look cool. If you turned out all the lights, I would just listening to music. I would just have all the lights off except for those. I like listen. Do you guys listen to music in full light? Like I really like it really dim when I'm listening to music.
Good question.
Guess it depends what else
I can
I'm
go
doing.
Either way.
I do.
I like it to be a little bit darker. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
light a candle, have just a really light bit of light on. Perfect.
Glenn's turning me on with setting the scene.
You
here
can
with the candles.
really focus on the music. That
I was listening to records last night here, and this room is bright because I got to work in here, and I'm thinking I need to get some lamps in here so I can listen to music and turn the lights off.
yeah,
What happens if I do this?
it's good ambiance.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Beautiful.
now-
I'm knocking over all my records though.
What John says, I don't want the TS album. What album's that? Is he talking about?
Taylor Swift.
Oh,
Everyone should have one. Everyone should have one. Should we delve into our topic here? Since,
yeah. Let's delve.
we thought we'd talk about what we've been spinning lately. Nothing deep. Just what have you been listening to? So, what do you got, Glenn? You want to go first? We'll go around the horn.
Sam is just
Well,
all Christmas music.
First of all, I want to show you this before I tell you what I'm listening to. A new addition to the house, my Miles Davis Funko Pop. I picked up at the mall on sale for $15 yesterday. So that's my latest musical Funko Pop edition. I don't collect Funko Pops per se, but I like the music ones. I got a Zappa, and I got John Lennon, and I got Janis Joplin, and I got Miles.
Nice.
The only one I want is Jerry Garcia, but he's out of print and he costs about $60, and I'm not paying $60.
Ouch.
One of the things that I would love, like the Simpsons for their 25th anniversary put out like action figures of guest stars, and they had a Tom Petty one. And
Oh, wow.
if you go on eBay, that thing is like $500.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a Rush Funko Pop set that's like $200 or $300.
Jeez.
That's an piece of art. Anyway, what am I into? My latest obsessions, I guess we'll start with. What happened? I lost something.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Okay, let's start with Ian Hunter. I picked up that freaking You're Never Alone with a Schizophrenic album, which is absolutely just a great rock album. It's so good, man. If you guys have never heard this, you should listen to it. It's just a great record. And when I picked that up, and I got the live stuff on side 2 and some of the unreleased stuff, like he does a great cover of a whole lot of shaking going on. It's really cool. Anyway, and then I found this comp, Once Bitten, Twice Shy, which is absolutely incredible. One disc is rockers, one's ballads, and guy's amazing. So I'm really on an Ian Hunter kick. That's my latest thing. I'm trying to pick up as much Ian Hunter stuff as I can get my hands on.
Did you get the new album?
I haven't bought the new one yet.
Defiance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I have listened to a bit of it, and I don't know if I was that crazy about it. But
You need to listen to it again.
I hate all these albums that like just make an album with yourself. I don't need every song doesn't have to have frickin' David Grohl on it, you know? Like just,
Don't tell Dave Grohl that.
yeah, the Stones don't need Lady Gaga. Ian Hunter doesn't need I forget who's on it, like Steven Tyler or something. I don't know.
He's not, but
Whoever it is. There's like 8 or 10 guest stars. Ringo, I think.
Jeff Beck is on a thing, and
Jeff Beck.
Mike Campbell, but they don't sing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my my first one. The legend Ian Hunter.
What do you got there, Jason?
Oh, before we start, can I say one
Oh.
thing today? One of the
Yes.
all-time great people in the world passed away today, Tommy Smothers from the Smothers Brothers. So
Right.
rest in peace, Mr. Smothers. A
It's
legend.
funny you say that. Like, I didn't know that he, like, the clip on the news from him. Like, I only know the Smothers Brothers from like much later in their careers. Like, they were just like an act that would go on other shows and like do the yo-yo tricks or whatever. But the clip I saw today was like this controversial one that he did where he was like pretty much shitting on the Vietnam War or whatever. But
Yeah.
I had no idea that they were like.
Oh, that show from
political.
67 to 69 was so edgy and so counterculture. Like the censors were just going nuts trying to keep them. Eventually, he kicked them off the air. They just couldn't stand it anymore. The anti-war stuff. And even I read a book about it. And even Richard Nixon, who was the president at that point, was friends with the network vice president or whatever and said, you got to get these guys off the air. Like it got really political.
I had no idea until today that they had that in them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And of course, he was sitting beside John Lennon playing guitar in Montreal in the hotel room when they were recording Give Peace a Chance, too.
Yeah,
Oh,
because he's
wow.
like Tommy Smothers, Hare Krishna.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, legend. Sorry to interrupt.
Awesome. Yeah, so some Christmas albums for sure. This is my favorite Christmas album. This gets a lot of love. I love the Elvis stuff. It's actually the only Elvis album I listen to. I think I have one other one. It's like one of his live records from his, the fatter Elvis period, like Madison Square Garden or whatever. But that one gets a lot of love. But unlike Sam, now it's done. Like I'm Christmased out now. Like I won't play anymore. And then the classic Bing album. I have a few others too, but these are the ones that kind of get the most enjoyment, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. That's it for the holiday spinning. I have other stuff I'll show later, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. When we talk about record storage and those kinds of issues, it's like, I have like so limited space. Do I not just take the small stack of Christmas stuff and put it somewhere else in the house? But the OCD and me can't handle the idea that the records wouldn't all be together.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
It sucks.
Alex, what do you got?
So my first one was a recent Amazon pickup. Thanks, Rob. I was like, I could tell you were messing with the showcase.
I'm trying to up the game here.
I want to see the
Glenn.
pores.
I am poor, so we'll zoom in on the poorest guy in the room. This was one of those, like, I don't know. I've told the story, or to probably all of you, that like I rarely buy off Amazon unless it's just like this like super crazy deal or something, right? Like not even like a 15% off or 20%. Like no, like it's got to be like kind of crazy in it. I'm in a couple of different like Facebook groups where like the alerts pop up and it's like, this is like this random price, and half the time I think it's just like a mistake that you take advantage of and then they fix it within like the hour. But if you're there, you can do it. So this one I jumped on because I think for me it was just a great opportunity to dive more into this individual's I guess material. I'm a huge fan of the band that he was sort of the original leader and front person of, but really in terms of his solo stuff, I hadn't heard that much. His stuff is hard to find, especially if you're someone like me who wants to get the original type stuff. And this just looked like a really cool comp. And I paid, I think, $15 for it. And that is An Introduction to Syd Barrett. So this is a 2 LP compilation that was actually, I think, put together and sort of remixed, I think, by David Gilmour. And it's a comp, a sort of quote unquote best of Syd Barrett that walks through obviously his major stuff that he did on Piper at the Gates of Dawn, including some of the unreleased stuff that was never put on the U.S. version of Piper, but as well as a number of stuff from his 2 solo records, Mad Clap Laughs and Barrett, as well as some other not released until later type stuff. So this is really cool because, you know, Syd Barrett, obviously just a tragic and just a wild sort of story. He put out 2 solo records and then pretty much disappeared. And then showed up during Wish You Were Here and was completely unrecognizable for everybody who was there. This, I think, was originally released maybe 12 or so years ago, but it just got a repress. And again, I don't know what it is now. I think usually it's around like $30 or $32 American. But again, it was like 15 and some change. And so I was like, oh, I'm doing this. And it's just a really cool sort of introspective and retrospective into his songwriting, and just very, very, very different type stuff than what Pink Floyd would obviously become later. But yeah, this is some really cool stuff. An Introduction to Syd Barrett.
Very cool.
Good. Very good.
The Madcap Laughs.
Sam.
Yeah, I like Jason kind of teased. I am still in Christmas mode. I probably,
No.
Like, yeah, I know, right? It's crazy.
Can't believe it.
But the
When are
select-
you opening your Christmas gift, Sam?
I haven't gotten it from you yet.
No, I know. When do you open your family gifts?
Oh, well, we had our, like, my immediate family did it Christmas morning, and then like our extended family will do it on the 1st, that's when everybody is actually in town together. So we're gonna have Christmas on Monday. Yeah, at my grandparents' house. But
It's like freaking Mardi Gras.
it is Mardi Gras, yeah. But no, I mean, I'm obviously listening to a ton of Christmas music. I didn't pull all of my Christmas albums that I'm listening to. Still, I mean, I try to go through and make sure I've spun them all at least once, which I have. So now I'm just kind of going through and doubling up some. But I've mentioned this one a million times. But I mean, obviously, like my Statler Brothers Christmas card is the big one for me. I was just with my grandparents yesterday, picked them up to go after work to go look at some Christmas lights in my hometown. And this is what we were spinning in the car. This and they had a second album called Christmas Presents in the 80s. But this is the one Christmas card that, I mean, again, it's in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. I just listened to it yesterday. Listened to it several times already this season. I'm sure I will hear it again coming up next week when we're all together at my grandparents' house. But again, I mean, today I listened to Dean Martin. I listened to Johnny Mathis, all Christmas stuff. But it's just, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel nostalgic, which I am, especially this time of year. So it's a very comforting thing. But the second thing that I'm going to show, it's not a CD or music related, but I was just wondering if y'all had seen this. I just bought this today at the grocery store. On the checkout line, there's a new edition of Rolling Stone where they focus on Keith Richards, and it's for his 80th birthday. And so it's like all the Keith Richards Rolling Stone stories up until the present day. And there's some great photos in there, and, you know, cover stories and pictures, and it's just about Keith. So this will be my reading material for the next few days.
Very
so
cool.
it's in newsstands now. So this is something else that's kind of made its way into my humble abode here. So nothing like Christmas and Keith, you know. We don't need Santa. We just
cool as hell, eh? Doesn't he? At 80, he still looks freaking cooler than everybody else.
Oh, he's so cool. And actually, I think because he gave up smoking a few years ago. I mean, look at this. This is the last picture in the book. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, he gave up smoking. I think that's actually done a good thing on his voice, because he was at that Willie Nelson tribute, and he was actually harmonizing with Willie, and it sounded like, you know, 80s Keith a little bit. And I mean, I know Glenn bashes Hackney Diamonds, but he has his one song on there, and he sounds pretty good. I mean, it's not as rough as I've heard Keith sound.
That would be the best song on the album for me.
Oh gosh.
No, seriously. I love Keith.
Larry does. I know Larry has a lot of his top Stone songs are Keith tunes. But yeah, so again, full Christmas here still. It'll probably start winding down musically in the next few days. I mean, my tree and everything will stay up until probably about at least January 6th ish, and then after that, it's kind of a day by day feel. So there you go.
What kind of mug is
So-
that? What's going
So,
on?
say,
there?
I
My
gotta
Matthew
ask,
Street
because
mug.
I gotta ask real quick on the extended Christmas celebration stuff. So, I'm like the opposite, where like, you know, Christmas has all this like leading up to it, and then as soon as it's over, it's just like cold turkey, like over.
Yeah,
Kinda like
And then
a
I'm in that
sticker
phase between Christmas and New Year's where I don't know what day it is. I don't know where I am. Like I'm in a fog, and like, but like I want it to like, you know, I want it to like sort of hit the apex and then like slow. I don't want to just cold turkey.
I do
it.
too. Yeah, because like radio stations, I mean, it's done. I mean, like my grocery store today, I walked inside. Today's the 27th. I walked inside right there at the door. It's like all these like Valentine heart shaped stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
like,
I
are you
saw the other
kidding
day
me?
too. Valentine's stuff.
Like,
Brutal.
my head hurts.
So my big thing right now that I'm struggling with is I've talked about on the show before. Like I love like nothing. Christmas is kind of a tough time for me, but like the thing that like gets me really really stoked and emotional about Christmas is if I get a chance to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They play here in town. I've seen them like 6 or 7 times, and they just
Cool.
bring me so much like joy, and it's just like such an emotional experience. But they're playing here on the 30th, so in 3 days, and it's like the tail end of the tour, and they always do this. Like it's just kind of luck of the draw what city they're going to be in after Christmas. But I'm sitting here and I was like, any other year I would go, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, do I want to? It just feels weird going, and so I'm like caught in this little thing. But my point is you're influencing me to keep the spirit going.
I would
You know,
go with you.
until the
I
new
would
year,
go with you if I could.
if you could. But some people care, Sam.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not worth a $200 plane ride or whatever.
That's it.
You're like
To the
what?
point.
You got the Hallmark Channel where they have Christmas in July every year. They play Christmas movies
Yeah,
in July. Yeah.
I'll occasionally pull one out during that time during the summer.
All right, my turn. Enough about Christmas.
Chris the man in the
rolls.
Santa hat.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I'm indifferent either way. So.
Girl.
No. I like Christmas, but whatever. If I didn't have a 7-year-old, I wouldn't really care that much. But I got a pile of stuff I've been listening to. I mentioned this in my box set. And it's an artist no one gives a shit about, but I'm gonna show it anyway. I picked up the new Bryan Adams live from the Royal Albert Hall.
We love Ryan.
I love him. I think he's great.
Oh yeah.
But everyone else, most people, dismiss him as shit. But whatever. This is interesting and mixed reviews on it. 4 LPs, DVD or Blu-ray. This copy's autographed. There's a book in it. It's fine. I did a box set video. You can watch it. It's interesting because he did a residency at the Royal Albert Hall last year, 3 nights, and each night he performed an album in its entirety. So he did Cuts Like a Knife, Into the Fire, and Waking Up the Neighbors. But the weird thing about this box set is the only one that is truly live in here is Waking Up the Neighbors. The other 2, Cuts Like a Knife and Into the Fire, they recorded live off the floor, but they recorded rehearsals of the entire album, not the entire album in front of a live audience, even though he did it in front of a live audience. And there's never been an explanation as to why they chose to only release one live audience recording, even though all 3 of these are live. And it's interesting. The 2 that he recorded without the audience are fine. They sound good. They sound as good as the original albums, arguably maybe a little bit better. Waking Up the Neighbors sounds awesome. Really, really good. The only problem is almost every single, even though it's 2 LP, every single song he cut out the last verse.
That's
So
annoying.
every song is shortened,
That's annoying.
which is annoying.
weird.
But it still sounds great.
It's funny you say that. I remember seeing him. This was years and years and years ago, and I felt like that has been a thing for him for a while.
It has. Yep.
Probably, to include more songs. You only got
Yep.
90 minutes. Like, let's do as many as we can. But I remember so many songs that would cut out. They would only do one verse and a couple choruses and then move on.
He does like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and then like that's it.
Like a medley of his songs. That's weird.
Almost. Waking Up the Neighbors is a kind of a long album. It's like 74 minutes or something. And the Royal Albert Hall is a very strict, you've got to have an intermission break somewhere between 45 and 60 minutes. So I guess he wanted to kind of cram it all into the first set and then leave the second set to be kind of greatest hits. But, I had to get that because I have everything else that he put out and I like him and mixed reviews. So,
Yeah. Can't win them all, eh?
no, I mean, I'm glad I've got it, but it is what it is. I'm
At
way
least
behind in comments here. So let me,
At least his lawyers are nice.
Anyway, lesson learned. Where are we here? We were talking about some Funko Pops, and I'll skim over that. And
My favorite kind of cereal.
yeah, there you go. We should have a drinking game every time anyone says Dave Grohl or Taylor Swift, and as Alex points out, he'd be drunk.
Rob
And
and
I'd have-
Glenn would give us alcohol poisoning.
I drink water, so I'd have to pee.
Yeah.
Hey guys, there's a clip on YouTube when George Harrison had a surprise appearance on the Smothers Show.
Yeah, he came out and introduced the Hey Jude and Revolution videos to North America. That was like the premiere of those videos that they did on the David Frost show in England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack the Music Guy's watching. He said he just finished the Stone Roses debut. Does anyone know it? He says he loves it.
I've
very
never
much.
heard it.
Although the guitarist is going to put out a single with Liam Gallagher here in January.
I heard
Oh.
about that. Yeah.
Right up your alley, Rob.
What kind of music is the Stone Roses anyway? Are they? Did
The
anybody know
Brit
about
pop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're kind of like a precursor to Oasis.
Okay.
That first album was '89, the Stone Roses album.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were just before the '90s, like Blur and all those guys. Kind of jangly.
Yeah, that's good enough. We'll start round 2 here. Glenn, what do you got for your round?
Okay,
2?
the one I got for Christmas that I'm absolutely think is just brilliant. The Yes album, anniversary album thing that came out. 4 CDs, 1 Blu-ray, and vinyl, all in one package. And man, the vinyl was mastered or whatever by Bernie Grundman. And it sounds freaking incredible. I'm just blown away. I was listening to the CDs first, and I listened to the first CD. The second CD is kind of interesting because it's a Steven Wilson remix. And then after that, it's all the album instrumental. They cut out all the vocals. It's really an interesting listen.
Oh.
And then I thought, well, I better play the album. I played it today, and it just blew my mind. It's one of the best sounding albums I've heard in a long time. Freaking great set. I heard someone say, I think I read it on the Hoffman forums. We were mad because they included CDs and vinyl in the same box. I mean, I can't think of anything
What's wrong
better.
with that?
I love CDs and vinyl. Well, because the vinyl snobs, I guess, don't like the fact that they got to pay for a CD.
That goes against Rob's Sgt. Pepper video that he
Yeah.
talked about his box sets.
Because
I mean,
I
can't be
have no
beer and
problems with
CD.
the CD being in there. Just throw the vinyl record in there too.
no, I think it's great.
I actually like having the CD because then I can rip it and I've got MP3s of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. And
Very nice.
if you're a fan of this album, man, it's well worth picking up. Absolutely great. There's some live stuff here. Now, talking to my buddy Steve, he was disappointed in the sound quality of the live performances, but I didn't really buy it for the live stuff, so I'll give it a listen. But really, really impressed with that set.
James says that's his favorite Yes album.
I know Close to the Edge is arguably the best. It could be the best progressive rock album of all time. I find myself going back to the Yes album more than any other Yes record.
Yeah, the Yes album got me into Yes. That was the one that kind of, because that was years before I appreciated that band. Now they're one of my favorite bands.
Really? Hey, that was going to be my question: is what is regarded as their best album?
Close to the Edge and the Yes album, the two I think are just both masterpieces. Really,
Wow.
I think the Yes album is probably more accessible as a starting point.
I mean, even I've seen All Good People.
Yeah,
Is captured
We've already talked about Barry Gibb.
for the Queen to use.
Oh,
I love it.
Who's up next? I've lost the order because the screen.
Yeah, I guess it's me. It's me.
Jason. All right.
All right. Yeah, nothing Christmassy about this, but I really wanted to spin something that sounded absolutely phenomenal, and that's the.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
How do you pronounce that again?
Leonard Skinner.
how do you
So,
pronounce that again?
this is the Analog Productions 45 RPM one, so it does sound just freaking amazing. The and I always want to play Freebird, and I always do play Freebird, but this time I put it on start to finish, and A Simple Man is just out of this world. Like, what an amazing song! Like, unbelievable song. Anyway, the whole album, and again, anytime you get like a band and their debut album like kicks ass, it's very like it's exciting to go through the rest of their catalog. Like, they hit it out of the park right out of the gate. And then, so they have talent, and then it's a question of whether they have the right people behind them to kind of continue that. And I honestly don't know a lot about the band after this album. Of course, Sweet Home Alabama and all that stuff. But
Oh yeah, Second Helping. You still got a long way to go, buddy. There's a lot of great
I
stuff.
have Second Helping, but I don't ever put it on like this. This
Street
one is,
Survivors, the one that they released when they passed away. They were on fire on the cover. That's my favorite. I think that's.
Is it? Hey, oh wow. Okay, I'll look into that one. But yeah, so anyway, Leonard Skinner made an appearance recently, and yeah, I can't do anything but sit down and listen. This is a very intentional album for me. It's not really a background noise album, so it's a good relaxation for me.
Can I ask you a question? You said it's 45 RPM, so is Freebird take up two sides?
Yeah, one whole side is Freebird, and it's just magical.
And then you got to flip it over and hear the rest.
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, I'm with Glenn on that. Well, Pronounce the Day to You is my favorite, but Street Survivors is my second, and sort of bookended in that way. But that's because Street Survivors has Steve Gaines, and that was the only record he was on. And
yeah,
obviously, the tragedy aside, the ongoing thing is what that band could and would have done with like Steve Gaines.
I know.
Or that guy came in and just was incredible, and he could sing and he could write and he could do it all. Yeah. Sam loves Leonard Skinner, so.
No comment.
All right.
On that,
What do you
what's your name, Alex? You keep going there.
What do you got for us, Alex?
All right. Well, second one. This was actually a pickup today. This is one of my favorite bands of all time. Although true, and I always had heard about this record, but truthfully, I'd never ever listened to this record. And so yeah, like one of my favorite bands. I've never listened to the record. Well, they released like 20 of them, so I get it. This I thought had been out of print for years, but I think just got a reissue. It was the only one in the bin, and as soon as I saw it, I grabbed it because it was kind of one of these. I'm not going to say it was a grail, but something I knew if I ever saw it, I was going to grab it. And I listened to it twice today, and I was just totally impressed. Everything I had heard about it aligned, and that is sadly the final record that Rush did, Clockwork Angels.
Oh, yeah.
This is great, but this is heavy. Like, this is like more like progressive metal, but super modern sounding. This came out in 2012. Was the last studio record they did, and obviously, with Neil Peart passing away a couple years ago, and who knows what they're doing now, and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of records to end a career on, this is awesome. This is just absolutely spectacular. So, overly impressed with this. Think it's awesome. And of course, that just sort of like re-energizes like the Rush sort of enthusiasm, because they're one of my favorites, and I love nearly everything they've done. So, yeah, Clockwork Angels from Rush.
Is that album out of print? Because I'm having trouble finding it. That's the only Rush album I don't own, actually.
Yeah, so I think it just got a repress last year.
Did it? Okay, because you can't I can't find the CD anywhere, even on Amazon.
Yeah, it was out of print for I guess since it came out in 2012. So
wow.
What
I got
what al-
Eddie Lee's book for Christmas. I don't know. I'm kind of just getting to the point where he's just kind of Rush is just starting to get together. But wow, what a great read that is.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good video idea too. You just said too, like an album to close out a career on, like best
Ooh.
final albums from bands.
That
right?
is
Like,
a good topic.
yeah, like first one comes to mind is Doors' "L.A. Woman."
I gotta go.
Yeah, because of the film. Yeah, the what Rush album? And I don't know my Rush albums at all. I just know a lot of their hits, and I've actually something I've been listening to lately a lot is one of their greatest hits comps, and "Working Man" opens the album. What album is that from?
That's off their debut, 74.
It is, eh?
So that's off their debut, and that's the one record that doesn't have Neil Peart on it.
No way. So
John
when I hear that,
Rutsey
that's
was
not
the
Neil.
original guy.
That's right. I forgot about that. I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that's
Yep.
the song that really broke them, like out of Toronto area or out of Canada was Working Man was playing and getting played in Cleveland, I think, on the radio.
WNCX, historic classic rock radio station up in Cleveland, got a hold of it, and obviously in the mid 70s in Cleveland and Youngstown and Akron and Canton, I mean that was as Rust Belt blue collar working as you can get, and so I mean the whole Working Man thing just blew up here. And that record sounds nothing like anything else they would ever do. I mean, that debut record sounds more like a Led Zeppelin record than anything else, which is I love it. But yeah, that's off their debut.
All right, Sam, what do you got for us?
This is an album that actually I think Alex and I talked about when he was down here a couple months ago. This is an album, and it'll show up when I talk about kind of when I do a year-end full recap, like of music that I've listened to this year. This is currently my most listened to album of the year, even though it came out last year, and I still don't fully know why I'm drawn to it, and it's become like this huge thing with like younger people, especially, and this artist particularly. And I'm talking about Noah Kahan. This is his album called Stick Season. He started as like an indie kind of almost like a synth pop kind of guy. And I think during COVID, he was doing like a lot of artists kind of, living room concerts. And he's like 26 or something. He's a young guy. He looks older, but he's a young guy from Vermont. And he was doing, all of these new original songs that he was writing during COVID, and was streaming them on Instagram and TikTok and whatever, and like thousands and thousands and thousands of people started tuning in, and they're like, dude, you need to release a folk album. Like, you need to release a folk album. And so finally he did it, and it came out last year, and he had the song Stick Season, which just went completely viral. And I didn't learn about him from social media or anything. He just like started popping up like on like suggested like videos on YouTube, like him like on late night performances, and somebody that that I know was listening to him, and they're like, you need to listen to this album, you would like this album a lot. And so I started listening to it, and a lot of the topics are not topics that I even relate with. I mean, he's somebody that really struggles with anxiety and depression, like that. Those are really big in his life, and that they're big in his lyrics. And I know a lot of people that struggle with that, but I'm not somebody that has, those same struggles that he does. I have my own, but a lot of his lyrics focus in on that stuff. And so a lot of people have attached themselves to him because of the lyrics. But he's also, he's a really good acoustic guitar player. He's a good singer, kind of a higher tenor type voice. But he all like the modern, like the modern artists are like really trying to like, hook up with him to like collaborate. So like people like the rapper Post Malone has like done like a duet with him, and like Casey Musgraves from the country side of things has done something with him, and some of like the young pop like up and coming artists want to do stuff with him. So he's catching on to a ton of different artists, and for some reason I keep listening to this album, and I just picked it up in like October, So it was really a big album with me in the fall. I left it in my car, was spinning it all the time. And I mean, Christmas has kind of put it on a halt. But the reason Alex and I were talking about it is it kind of goes into the, you know, the new way of gaining fame in today's world, where like somebody from TikTok or Instagram picks up this much speed all at once. Because I mean, we can talk about one of the original examples was Justin Bieber, who was on YouTube like busking, and you know, we all know what happened to him. I mean, he's, you know, who he is, but he blew up because of YouTube, and this guy blew up because of TikTok. So it's like that new way of getting discovered out there. It's really bizarre. Now, you know, everybody knows this guy's name in like the songwriter world of today. So all that to say, Stick Season is something that I'm listening to a lot these days.
And
Cool.
Sam, I know I told you the story, I'm sure, when we were talking. Funny enough, I played that record today, actually. So like good timing. I don't know why. But you know, one of those things that, like, I don't know, it is what it is. Like everybody is so obsessed with it that it's probably, honestly, it's like similar to probably how Glenn feels about Hackney Diamonds, in the sense of like, when everybody is seemingly so obsessed with it, you kind of are turned off by it. Like you're like, I don't know, it feels weird.
Kind of like Glenn's channel. Yeah.
And so that's true. That's a good,
Hence
well
Rob's
done.
hosting tonight. Yeah.
But I had seen him at a private radio station concert show back in the spring. It was about 25 people at a radio station, like stage setup, and he was playing later that night at a sold-out show here in Columbus, about like a 4,000, 5,000 seat amphitheater. And about a month later, he had announced a tour, and he had sold out in a day a 25,000 seat amphitheater.
Wow.
Like it blew up like that. How
That's
fast
crazy.
that went.
Something like my channel.
Just like your channel. I mean, honestly, he was probably inspired by you.
Probably.
Get some royalties out of this.
Well, that's like Glenn sent me back to Rush. It's like Glenn saw Rush in all those bars back in the day.
Yeah.
Unreal.
So
All right, I'm up. I relegate Sam to the corner behind the StreamYard logo.
Hey, Santa.
So we've got 2 record stores in town that I live in. One is small and pretty good. And another one is mostly CDs, even though they bill themselves as our city's record store, but they suck. And it's run by snobs that only bring in shit that no one's ever heard of. I can't stand that place, but I went in there because I needed record sleeves. And I thought I'd flip through their used stuff. And I found an album by a band I love, the Old 97s. They're country rock, I guess.
yeah.
What would you call them, Alex? Country rock? Rock?
I remember you talking about a Texas band.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
from Texas.
Yeah. I would say like more country, alt country. That's what.
Yeah, sort of in the vein of like Uncle Tupelo and early Wilco kind of stuff.
Yeah,
They've been around for like
you call it.
damn near 30 years at this point. This is their album, Wreck Your Life, which came out in 95. I've got most of their discography. I have this digitally, but I've never even seen it on vinyl. I knew it was on vinyl, but I just didn't want to pay to buy it off eBay or Discogs and pay shipping. And the same thing that Glenn and I always moan about, that just gets very expensive with shipping and taxes and all that nonsense. So I was quite surprised to actually find this in my local record store, because I don't normally see these guys up here. In fact, most people don't even know who they are, but this is just a really great up-tempo rocking, like I said, Uncle Tupelo, early Wilco kind of thing. So this, I think, was their 3rd album, maybe 4th, something like that. But I like sort of the early 3rd of their career the best. So as far as I'm concerned, this is right in their prime. Fantastic album.
The
Awesome.
old 97s.
I have
Yeah.
a Christmas album called An Americana Christmas, and the Old 97s are on it, and it's a really
Nice.
Yeah, that's where I first heard them.
They've got probably, I would imagine they probably have 15 albums at this point, and a couple EPs and some compilations and all kinds of stuff. So Let me go back in the comments here. Not really sure exactly where we were, but we'll start with Roy here. When Glenn was talking about Geddy Lee's book, Roy points out that Chris Hellman's book is a good read too.
I bet you it is.
Let's see here. I got to do a better job of keeping up on comments as they happen, so I'll change that going forward. Our friend French Vinyl Addict is talking about the Agora Ballroom concert in Cleveland '75. Alex said, "You're right." WMMS, is that the radio station? I assume that's what we're talking about.
Okay. Yes.
And in reference to Sam's pick,
Okay.
Olivia Rodrigo made Noah's career. I guess did he write something that she recorded, or what's the deal there?
I don't know. I don't.
She did do a version of Stick Season that I'm sure blew
here
up
we go.
because she's Olivia Rodrigo. But that song, and he was huge on TikTok before that too.
Yeah, he was big on TikTok before that.
Gotcha. Then Roy says Chris Hillman is still active and keeps in touch with his fans. That's good.
I saw Chris Hillman with Marty Stewart and Roger McGuinn.
That would have been awesome.
Well, that's cool. Just saw an interview with Andy Summers, and he's still looking good for being over 80. It's remarkable how many of these guys are over 80 and they're still doing it. When I'm 80, I don't want to be doing shit.
He's touring. He was in Toronto the night that I saw Bob Dylan in Toronto. He was playing.
He was
was he?
in Northern Virginia for a couple nights.
And there's a great documentary on him on Amazon Prime, I think it is. Fantastic. Really good.
Yeah, because he was doing stuff in the late
Hat's
60s.
too hot.
You know, he was around the late 60s as like a studio guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He recently, if y'all are Rick Beato fans, just posted a great interview on Rick's channel. That is just, I mean, Rick does really great interviews with everybody, but that one was outstanding.
Yeah, and I should watch that.
Very, very talkative and very open, and just seemed like it was just a really great conversation.
Underrated guitar player.
What is the backstory with Rick Beato? Like, what is his deal? Like, I've seen obviously stuff he's done. How did would he just emerge as a YouTube guy, or was he around?
No,
forever?
he was I've watched him since day one. He's a producer based in Atlanta, and he originally had a band. I can't remember what the name was, and he didn't really do much. So he got into producing, and he produced a lot of like country artists and stuff, and that was kind of how he became a producer. And then I think he's gained more fame on YouTube, even though he's produced a ton of stuff by a ton of people. He's kind of the first guy to kind of get on YouTube from a inside the business perspective, and he's got perfect pitch and he can play any instrument. He was kind of the first guy to get in there and start to dissect songs, and he does a series called Why This Song Is Great.
Yeah.
And I just think he did that at the right time, sort of when the YouTube boom started pre-pandemic, and he was just doing something that no one else was, and now many people are doing it. But because of him being a producer and having connections in the industry and what he's done on YouTube, he can pretty much interview anybody now. They'll sit down with him.
One of my favorites, because I mean, like his channel's great anyway, and he does a lot of like, theory, like musical theory training, and he's an educator and all that. But his interviews are just so great because he does his research. He knows the people respect him for who he is. But my favorite one he did, and kind of topical too, was with Daniel Lanois.
Oh, wow.
Was like, and they were walking. It's so interesting. Like they're sitting there playing, like whether it's stuff from the Joshua Tree or whether it's stuff from like from Peter Gabriel. Like he'll play it back, and like you sense like the emotional sort of like tension in a good way of like, wow, like how good is that? Like tell us like why you did that, like all that type of stuff. And so his interviews are great, but the one with Daniel Lanois is my favorite.
That would have been awesome. I almost got to jam with Daniel Lanois once. I used to jam with these bluegrass guys, and one of the guys we used to go every week, and one of the guys was a session musician. He was a great musician, and he was working on a Daniel Lanois session in Toronto, and And he told Daniel that we get together in this garage every week. And Daniel was supposed to show up, but he didn't show up. He's going, he's coming, but he never showed up. I don't know if I would have been able to play. I just would have been going, no, I'm just going to watch.
I would have done it even if you were terrible, just to say you did it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
right.
that was kind of disappointing that he didn't show up, but almost.
Happy New Year, Cardboard Head Guy.
Cardboard Head Guy.
Rick Beato's band was called Billionaire. Yes, that's right.
Shitty band name. I'd never listened to them.
Paul Jones, another guy who's still looking good and is very much engaged with music. Yep. Another behind the scenes channel is Tank the Tech. He's done almost everything on tour from tech. Oh, that's cool. I haven't heard about that one.
That'd be interesting. I bet
The other one I used to watch all the time. It was one of the music magazines used to do a rig rundown.
Hey, Trevor.
They'd see somebody, they'd interview somebody like The Edge, and he'd run them through all his gear and all his pedal setup. It's for guitar players, but that was another cool one too. But I'm going to check out this Tank the Tech. That sounds cool.
That sounds interesting. Yes, Klaus Vormann was in Manfred Mann.
Yep.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Klaus was in a lot of stuff. Just he kind of, I think because he made friends with John Lennon, it just kind of opened a bunch of doors for him.
Yeah.
He got to know a lot of people. So, all right, Glenn, round 3. What do you got?
Round 3. So just a week or so before I saw Bob Dylan, I saw Steve Hackett at Massey Hall. Incredible show, just an amazing guitar player. And he did his own stuff for the first half of the show, and then the second half they did Foxtrot, Genesis Foxtrot album in its entirety. It was just a brilliant show. He's so good. And anyway, so for Christmas, my wife got me Steve Hackett's album Foxtrot at 50 plus Hackett Highlights live in Brighton. This is freaking awesome. Oh my God. Alex, do you have this one?
I do not. No.
Oh, brilliant. The guitar playing in this is just freaking outstanding. Since Christmas, I bet you I played this 4 or 5 times. I just absolutely love it. Amazing. And I'm really excited for his new album to come out in February. So I'm kind of in a Hackett mood, but I got most of these live ones where he's doing the Genesis stuff. And I'm not a big Genesis fan, but I love when he does these songs because he throws in the guitar that they never threw in when those albums were made.
Yeah.
Yeah. They needed that as far as I'm concerned. But if you're looking for something cool, man, this is great. Steve Hackett.
What's the new one called? The Whale and the Moon?
The Circus and the Whale.
That's right.
Comes out in February.
Gets me excited when you guys get excited.
James says he thinks
Steve Hackett.
Foxtrot is the first great Genesis album.
Well, it's got their classic song, Supper's Ready on it, which is like, that's kind of one of the, a lot of people would rate that as maybe the best Genesis song or close.
I wish
Yeah,
supper was ready. I haven't eaten yet.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah. Yeah. Supper's Ready is up there with like Close to the Edge and 2112.
Yeah, it's kind of the classic.
Yeah.
Glenn doesn't want to hear it, but Steve Hackett's new single off his next album is amazing, apparently.
No, I don't. I just don't. I hate when they're this new style of releasing songs ahead of the albums coming out. Like
I don't mind dropping
Release
one
the
single
full
to
fucking
tease
album.
the album. I don't mind dropping one single to tease the album. That's fine. But when you release like 4 songs, like one song a week for 4 weeks, and then you get the album and you've heard half the album already.
Yeah. But it also
Yeah.
depends on the artist. Like if it's just an artist that where they just do a bunch of 3-minute pop songs and stuff, I could listen to the songs. I don't have a problem. But if it's something like this, is supposed to be a concept album, so it's something, whatever it is, it's being taken out of context, and I need to hear it all at once.
Well, that's what Peter Gabriel did.
Yeah, I know, and I wouldn't
Ton
listen.
of stuff.
I didn't listen to one song.
I'll give you an example. I'm a big fan of Grace Potter from Grace Potter and the Nocturnals, and she just put out a new album in the summer. And I think it's got, I want to say 10 songs on it, maybe 11. And leading up to the album release, she dropped 4 or maybe even 5 songs on YouTube and other streaming platforms. And I purposely stayed away because I didn't want to hear them, because when I get that new record by an artist, concept album or not, I want to put that album on, sit down, listen to it start to finish. I don't want to have heard half of the songs already.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm complaining about nothing. If I don't want to hear it, just don't listen to them. But
Well, you do what the Beatles used to do. They used to put out singles, and then those singles were never on the albums. It was
perfect.
great,
I love
right?
that.
That's the way you do it.
James is saying, and Watcher of the Skies.
Yeah, great song.
And Jeff says, heck of an album intro.
Yes. Watch for the Skies is a great album intro.
All right, Jason, what do you got for us?
Yesterday, I really enjoyed this all over again.
Oh, now you're hitting my sweet spot there, buddy.
Yeah, I thought of you.
With that camera.
Why? Why is this? I thought I fixed this problem.
This is great.
I'm in love.
the camera
Will you marry
doesn't
me,
know what to
Jason?
do.
If I move to Terrace, BC, will you marry me?
Hell yeah.
The G in G spot stands for Glenn.
Oh, dude, bored.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, great album. Again, I'm kind of relatively new to the band as a whole. I know, obviously, I've known them forever, but that was a good freaking album. My God, and I love the idea that they're known for their live stuff. However, they have put out a couple of these albums, like American Beauty and that one, that are like they're good studio albums. I don't know. It's such a unique band that I can't wait to eventually learn more about. But yeah, outstanding album. That the only song I ever knew off this was Casey Jones, because that's one of their. I guess it must be one of their more popular hits.
Yeah,
if I knew that, then it must
that would be like
good,
a hit, considered a hit.
Yeah,
Grateful
for
Dead didn't
sure.
have any hits, but
yeah. So I'm all.
yeah, that and American Beauty, they're like sister albums. They were recorded.
Yeah.
Pretty much, like,
So I have
same
those
time.
two, and I have their actual debut album. And my next thing will be that Europe '72, probably, if I ever
it's
come across that. But
Yeah, and I can
Yeah.
give you a bit of a tip because I've been watching it, but I don't know how much money you want to spend. But they had a live album called Without a Net, which was recorded probably in the '80s, but still pretty good. And the album, the original issue sells for like $200, and they've just reissued it, and it sells for about $100. But there's a copy on Amazon.ca right now for $70. I'm like looking at it. It's a 3-album set.
$70 for 3 isn't bad.
Not too bad. I know.
Not too bad. I think you should.
Yeah, I have it on
let's do
CD. That's the only reson I didn't pull the trigger on it. If
Well,
I
you
didn't
might
have it on
as well.
CD, I
You
would
do
have
it. I'll do it.
in my house by now.
You know, Jason, I would tell you too, because I know you're kind of an audiophile. I mean that respectfully, but
I mean it insultingly.
The
Love you, Rob.
I think that I would say like the 3 biggest successes for Mobile Fidelity records are like Miles Davis MoFis are amazing, Bob Dylan MoFis are great, and then their work with the Grateful Dead stuff is great. So
I had no idea they did any work with the Dead. Wow.
Yeah,
yeah,
American
especially
Beauty
the
and-
American Beauty and Working Man's Dead are
They're
both
both on MoFi.
are both spectacular.
They must be, eh? Wow.
Which I think makes sense, right? Like I don't need an audiophile version of their debut. Like
Now
it's
they're
not really-
yeah.
it's not really that kind of record, but I think for those two, especially all that like folky acoustic stuff, it's just so crystal clear.
I'm writing it down.
And they're
And that's
45
my favorite
RPM, I think,
era.
too. The only reason I never bought them is they're 45 RPM.
Yeah, it's a pain in my ass.
Yeah.
Especially-
Get your exercise, Glenn. You got to get off the couch and you got to walk over and flip it. And
I don't even mind not being lazy and getting up and flipping it. I hate that ruins the continuity of the record to me.
yeah,
It can
Yeah.
for sure. There's a good argument there. And I got a bunch of 45s, but you're right.
And I avoid them. I won't buy them, unfortunately, because there's a lot of good ones.
Even
That,
the Dylan MoFis?
Even the Dylan MoFis. I had Blonde on Blonde. I sold it.
Jason, I don't know if you have, because I showed it the other week, but that Long Lost album, The Lord Huron, on vinyl, because it's a 2-record set. The side D is literally just that instrumental, that Times Blur. But on the CD is a much more enjoyable experience because that song like melds with the final song on the record. And it's just seamless. And so like it doesn't make sense for me for it to be on record. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
I get that, and it kind of drives me crazy because I'm like, being a total vinyl snob now, it's like, well, come on, band. The band shouldn't have created an album that broke up like that,
Right.
But you're right. I get it. That because I never play side D, right? I played it like maybe twice out of the 30
I listen
times
every
put
time
that
I play it, I
album.
listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
mean, and that is I yeah, you're right. This is like a totally different sort of conversation. But like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, Glenn, could you imagine ever breaking up Sgt. Pepper into 245 RPM records?
No.
Like,
Rob, no.
I don't care. You know, it's like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's the greatest sounding thing that makes you like. Never mind. But like I just, and so yes, obviously like Sgt. Pepper would be like the litmus test, but I don't want to do it with.
Well, even
Sgt.
worse, what
Pepper.
about side 2 of Abbey Road? Imagine that being on 2 different sides of a record.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
It's funny too because, like, from what I gather in the kind of the conversation in the audiophile world, is that a guy like Kevin Gray, who's got this new equipment and he's obviously good at what he does. There's now a conversation happening that the 33s that are being released by these high-end guys sound as good, if not better, than the 45s. So the people that always said 45s are the way to go, their argument is getting thinner and thinner. Apparently, allegedly, that there's some out there that can be just as good if you care on that level and if your gear is even capable of displaying that, which I know mine isn't, but I kind of justify it as I'm buying the best sounding thing for the system I'll have one day. But it sounds like the 33s are catching up.
But I think if like some albums are just really well recorded and just sound great, just get the original pressing, or even some of the reissues, they sound amazing. So when you listen to that and then buy the MoFi and pay extra money for the MoFi and put them side by side, the difference is so minimal, it's not worth the expense, in my opinion.
No, it's crazy. Like the UH, what are they called? UBQ or whatever they're called.
UHQR, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that rich, but like I've done like ABs with people like those records, and then like the MoFi, and then even like again like a Kevin Gray or Bernie Grudman cut. And I mean, it's just so minute. It's like it's not worth the extra $100. Like like those things are like $145 for one record.
Yeah,
and it's just not enough to do it. It's not enough.
If you got the money, I mean, you got millions of dollars sitting in the bank, and you want to do that, all the power to you. But
not for us poor.
I can't justify it.
Music Sanctuary says I found UHQRs on sale on Boxing Day for $200 rather than the usual $250. I have nothing positive to say about I have nothing positive to say about a record company wanting to charge $200 for a record. That is ridiculous. I don't give a shit how good it sounds. I think
But
that's
there's a market for it.
I know, but I have anything I would say would get me in trouble. So I'm gonna move on from that comment. If that's what you're into,
have
more
like
power to you. Like that's
But
fine.
some guys, that's their hobby, is searching for the greatest sound. Like they just have to
I get that, but
$200
for a record,
speakers, and they're not happy with $1,000 turntable. They got to have a $10,000 one.
Oh man, I wish I had that kind of money. I'd have a hell of a lot better guitars than I do.
Well, it's the same thing.
I suppose.
Nowadays, with the quality of guitars they're sending over from China, they're pretty freaking good. They sound pretty damn good, and people are still buying the $4,000 freaking Les Pauls that are made in the U.S. and whatever.
I'll continue to make my own.
Yeah.
All right, Alec, you're up.
Well, this one I have a. Nope, that's Jason. Yeah, we're talking.
It takes a minute.
It's the
He's
poor.
a good looking
Better
guy.
looking than I am, though. Everything is just bad.
Hair's looking good. Jeez.
As I prepare, and when I say prepare, I mean continue to procrastinate my end of the year top 10 records of the year, which I got about 3 days to do it, so I better get my fat ass in shape here to do it. I've been going back to a lot of records I played this year, and this is a band that's also sort of one of the newer bands for people who are into older bands, and they put out a couple of records this year. And I've gone back to these a lot. And I think it's, I always go back to, it might take 4 or 5 listens to really fully get it and, all that kind of stuff. Cause sometimes it's just, that's how the record is or whatever. But the band I'm talking about is Rival Sons. This is their most recent, or I guess this came out this year, called Dark Fighter. This is a band. They've been around for about 15 years now. So, I mean, they're not really that new. They're not young per se, but new hard rock, blues rock band. To me, and the comparison's been made before, this is like a more modern, heavier, in-your-face version of Free or Bad Company. Like, if you're into that sort of like early 70s British blues, hard rock type stuff, these guys are right up there in terms of just in your face. Yeah, I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. Is it just feels like that sort of stuff. Add 50 years and turn it up to 11. So
Dark Fighter.
This is Dark Fighter. It came out this year. Great record. My favorite from them is probably their one that came out, I guess, back in 2019. This is called oh gosh, what is this called? Wow. That's what happens when you get a couple number of beers deep in here.
My cousin's a big fan of Rival Sons. He's given me a couple other CDs, but I've never
delved. Yeah. Sorry. Feral Roots is the name of this record. I mean, just again, super bluesy, soulful, huge vocals. I know Steve at the Old Worlds of Stage is a big fan of them. And I mean, they have like a guitarist, vocalist sort of chemistry that, regardless of how you feel about bands, I think really is in line with like, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, or, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry. Like, it's that sort of like 1-2 punch there of vocalist and guitarist. So yeah, I think if you're somebody who loves Bad Company, you love Free, you love that sort of early mid-70s hard rock, and want something a little bit more modern, heavier in your face, Rival Sons, they blow me away, and every time I listen to them, I enjoy them even more.
I was gonna say, what was the name of that last album?
Feral Roots was the one that came out in 2019, I think. And then they put out 2 this year, Dark Fighter and Lightbringer. Honestly, they probably should have just done a double record because they came out like a month away from each other. But they are kind of thematic, where Dark Fighter is a little bit darker, which is why I like it a little bit more than Lightbringer.
Well, Feral Roots happens to be the name of where I get my hair cut. So,
are you serious, Clark?
No.
Are you serious, Clark?
I've been waiting for the joke. But...
Nicely done.
No, like I said, my cousin, they come to Richmond a bit and play at the smaller venues. I think they opened. Who did they open? They opened for, was it Sabbath?
They opened for Sabbath.
Yeah, on a few shows on their last tour.
Yep.
Yeah, because they came to Northern Virginia up in Bristow, and my cousin was like, I'm gonna see Rival Sons open for Black Sabbath, and I was like, I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
Not for 4 hours of driving.
No.
But anyway, it's me, right?
It's you.
Okay.
I think it's you. It looks like you. Or is that your brother?
One of the CDs that I've been listening to quite a bit, and I listened to it the first time this year and liked it a lot, and then kind of let it be. And then I went back to it a few more times, and I've really, really, really been getting into it. I know Glenn is a big fan of this album. This was actually VCLT from Edward over at Proghat. He gave me this. I think he had some doubles, and that is the album Anodyne by Uncle Tupelo.
Oh, yeah, great album.
I've been listening to this a lot. And if you don't know, Uncle Tupelo is Jay Farrar and Jeff Tweedy, from Wilco, before he was in Wilco. This is like pure
Sunvolt.
Sunvolt. Yeah, it's like this is pre Wilco and Sunvolt, and like from this group, those two bands emerged.
Yeah.
But this is pure like country rock. Like the best song on this album is a song called A Cuff Rose, which is just an incredible, like, it's got mandolin, it's got fiddle on it, but it's got those Jeff Tweedy vocals on it, and Jay is singing co-lead, I think, on there. Or no, he's playing mandolin, excuse me. But songs like that, I mean, The Long Cut is fantastic. Chickamauga is fantastic, which is just really, really good stuff. New Madrid is really good. I mean, there's banjo on here. There's, this and that. I think who else is on? There's somebody else. Doug Somm is on here on one track. But I mean, it's from 1993, so I mean, it's 30 years old this year. It doesn't sound like an album from the 90s. I mean, it's just really, really solid songwriting, solid playing, and I really want to get the other Uncle Tupelo records. But yeah, Uncle Tupelo they're kind of become a obsession of mine. But
well, then Sam, you need to do a deep dive into Sunville. They're much
I don't
better
have
than
any
Wilco, in my opinion, way better. Like in the same vein as Uncle Tupelo's.
yeah,
Wilco had the first 2 or 3 albums were really good, and then after that, they started, to me.
yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
So what
I'm
was
not a
the,
fan
what
either.
was
You
the
should check out
sequence of-
Sunville, like way different than.
What was the sequence of the band? Sunvolt came after Wilco? No.
It was Uncle
No,
Tupelo.
they both split up from Uncle Tupelo, and one formed Sunvolt, and
Right.
one guy
Sorry.
formed
Yeah.
Wilco.
You just
Jay
said it last
formed
week.
Sunvolt and Jeff.
But Sunvolt
Wilco.
stayed more in the Uncle Tupelo vein.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the thing with Sunvolt. Yeah, they kind of even like still like Jay Farrar is still kind of putting out that kind of style of
Mhm.
music. 30 years on, to quote Elton John.
I'm
But,
a big fan. And Sunvolt just put out an album of Doug Somm songs, actually called
Yeah.
Doug or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a fantastic record. And Glenn, they did 3 albums as Uncle Tupelo. Was it 3 or 4?
I have 2 of them. I'm not sure if they did 3 or
What
not.
I miss? I heard Uncle Tupelo.
That was my album, Anodyne
Anodyne. Oh, I love that.
by Uncle
Yeah.
Tupelo. I was talking about Acuff Rose. I know you're a fan of that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
I
is
think
a fan.
there's 3 or 4 studio Tupelo albums and a couple live ones, I think.
So they went up all the way to 4 records.
I think. I've got 2 of them.
Yeah, I got 2 as
Anodyne
well.
and No Depression.
Yeah, they're the
Okay.
2 I've got as well.
Have
Both
you
great
heard No
albums.
Depression yet, Sam?
Mm-mm.
If you like Anodyne, you'll love No Depression. I kind of think of them like sister albums.
Okay. Is Anodyne, is that their first? This is from 93.
No, I think that's their last, I think. Let me look.
Oh, you might be right. Because AM from Wilco came out like in
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Hold on.
Which I love AM by
I'm just
Wilco.
pulling up their discog. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. Here we go. No Depression was the first one. Came out in 90. Then Still Feel Gone in 91.
Oh, they did an album a year.
I've never heard that one.
And then they did a live album called March 16th to the 20th, 92, which is great. And then Anodyne came out in 93. So there's 3 studio albums and a live album.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. So Uncle Tupelo, again, thanks to Edward at Proghat for giving me this.
Love it. Let's see if I'm missing anything in the comments here. Let's see. Steve saying Aqualung. I have the UHQR and the Steven Wilson mix. And I think Steven Wilson sounds better. The only UHQR I have is Tapestry, which does sound great. Great album. I couldn't justify. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I think. Music Sanctuary says I won't mention MoFi one steps that were down to 150. Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's so funny hearing those because he's Canadian too, right? So
Yep.
like when I'm like, oh my gosh, they're down to 150. I'm like 150, like those are down to like $75 here.
Oh,
Well,
crazy.
for Music Sanctuary, he's in Toronto area, right?
No, he's
I
in
thought he
Alberta.
was
Oh, is it
Alberta.
Alberta?
Edmonton or
Well,
Calgary or
contact,
Lethbridge.
If you want to contact Zap Records in Cobourg, Ontario, he's having a big sale this week, and he's at 30% off, and he's got a ton of one steps and MoFis and stuff in there. He's got 30% off on everything. He might ship it to you. If you're interested, contact the store.
Mm.
And Glenn gets a commission.
I was going to say. Nice job.
Just helping out a buddy. I get nothing.
Are we on to me now? I guess we're on to me now.
We're on to you now.
We're on to me. All right, I'm going to move myself.
That's Alex.
That's
That's you.
Takes a minute, folks. Come on.
Santa's gone.
All right. This is a cool record that no one's heard of.
Mm.
Glenn may know a little bit about this, but I picked this up a little while ago. I think I mentioned it in another video, but I can't stop listening to it. This is a guy by the name of Rick White. And Rick White is a Canadian singer-songwriter, guitar player in this sort of...
The Sadies.
Yeah, so what this is called Rick White Plays the Sadies. So the Sadies are a band from Toronto, been around 30 plus years. And they're kind of like country rock,
kind of an alt country
psychedelic. They're kind of like cosmic cowboys is kind of what I've heard them described as. But they can also play anything. They have a blues album. They have that they did with somebody, and they did a couple rock albums with some other people, and they were Nico Case's backing band for a while. They really can play anything, and they're absolutely incredible. And it's two brothers, Dallas and Travis Good, and then two other guys. And what happened last May of 2022 is Dallas, this guy here, who was the lead singer and one of the two guitar players, he died unexpectedly of a previously undiagnosed heart condition. And they've continued on as a trio, and quite well, which is interesting because his brother is taking over the lead duties, but his brother's a very shy guy. But they carried on quite well. Anyway, their friend Rick White, who they have collaborated with many times, he did an album of him playing songs by the Sadies. So it's very sort of psychedelic country western, if that makes any sense. It's real rock flavoring to it. It's I love the Sadies, but Rick White playing the Sadies just takes it off on a slightly different tangent. And this is a fantastic record. It's on white vinyl. I picked this up at Sonic Boom in Toronto, and I was there with Brian from Embryonic Robot and Chris from Stylus Meets Vinyl. Just a fantastic psychedelic rock country album. Can't stop listening to it. It's weird, but it's awesome. So good. So good. All right, what are we seeing in some comments here? Music Sanctuary is in Edmonton. He's going to look up Zap. And Glenn put the information there. Cool. Glenn, you are up next. What else you got?
Jason, get your pen and paper ready. This is for you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
I got turned on to this album a couple of years ago by Norman Maslov. It's called The Third Mind is the project. And this was kind of Dave Alvin. If anybody knows Dave Alvin, great guitar player. He was in a band called the Blasters. He does his own solo career. He does electric blues, acoustic stuff. He's just an all-around guitar player. Anyway, they put out this album, and it's kind of a salute to psychedelic guitar. So if we're talking Grateful Dead, maybe
didn't they just put out Volume 2, or is that what you're going to show?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with this.
Oh, I'll shut up then. Sorry.
Anyway, so this is a freaking fantastic album. Alex, they do a cover of Alice Coltrane's Journey in Satchidananda on here. Guitar bass.
Satchidananda?
Yeah. Fantastic. And they also do a cover of Paul Butterfield's East West.
Thank you.
And they do the song Morning Dew, which is a Grateful Dead at a hip. They do it somewhat like the Grateful Dead. This is a freaking incredible record. And this year they put out Volume 2. And I just got this today, actually. And I listened to it once, and it's fantastic. It's mostly a female vocalist who kind of sounds like Grace Slick in a way, but not when she does that powerful Somebody to Love vocal, but more like some of her more softer type stuff. But really, this one's outstanding too. Third Mind 2.
Oh,
both of them.
Great.
I hear the vinyl sounds great on both these albums, but these albums are killer. Both of them. Get them.
Wow.
On it.
And then send me an email saying thank you so much.
I will.
Okay. But that shut everybody up.
No one
Yep.
wants to say anything now.
I'm
Good Lord.
speechless.
Thank
I'm
you, Glenn.
speechless.
You're the best.
That's the problem being a host, man. You got to keep yapping because no one
Well,
else.
you know, so what we're going to do is we're going to segue right over to Jason now, who's going to wow us with something else.
Glenn,
A
get your pen and
classic.
paper out.
No, this is. I think everyone already knows this album, but you know what? I scored this in the last year, and I've only played it once until yesterday. I put that on again.
Nice.
Cream.
It is a really good album, isn't it?
It's a great album.
It is really good. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing to say about it except that I listened to it recently and I still love it. You know, I don't know. Is this a band that you've seen, Glenn?
Yeah, I saw them in 1968 at
I was
Massey
trying to
Hall.
remember. I don't know who I was talking to, and I was talking about
Yeah.
you guys in the live stream, and Glenn came up in conversation. It's like, yeah, there's a guy on this live stream that's seen like everybody, and I thought for some reason that Cream was one of the ones you hadn't, but Cream you did. Who was one of the big ones that you hadn't seen then?
The Beatles.
That was it? I thought there
Pretty
was
much.
a couple. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, yeah, an old Canadian pressing. It's beat to hell. It's actually doesn't play it too smooth, but I don't care. It's actually like one of the old Atco label and everything too, right? Which I thought was super cool.
Oh yeah, that purple and gold, man.
Yeah, I love it. So anyway, it's
And that's
still
my
here.
second favorite album cover of all times.
It's so good.
The first
It's
one's the White
amazing.
Album.
The White Album's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hacking
Yeah.
Diamonds.
Yeah. Anyway,
Jason, you're being told to get the Goodbye Cream album because it's
I'm
great.
seeing that there, Roy. Okay, I will write that down too.
Spend your money, Jason.
Yeah.
Trevor's dad saw Cream at Cobo Hall in Detroit, probably on the same tour. Glenn.
Yeah, it would have been 68, probably same. Yeah.
Wow. I can't
Those are fun
imagine
years.
what that would have been like.
We're too young, Jason. That's the damn problem.
I don't know.
It's still like a lot of concerts I went to in those days. I don't have very vivid memories of a lot of the things. Like people say, what was Hendrix like? And I just don't,
Well, of
you know,
course, yeah. How
much
could
like
you remember?
Storm, and I kind of remember it, but I don't have any like just shoot out. But the Cream one, I remember every second of that show for some reason. It was just
Glenn, is that because you're old or because you were fucked up?
both.
Oh,
Both.
or is it both? A little column A, a little
I think
column
of both. I was pretty
Glenn-
fucked up at pretty much every show. I got to get
Glenn is so old, he saw Beethoven perform his first symphony. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then
And
he
you know
yelled,
what?
"Play
When I went
Freebird" from the
outside, my
audience.
dinosaur had been stolen. I had to.
Wasn't that a meme that I sent in our group chat about like imagine being in the audience when Beethoven or whatever
Yeah.
played?
Yeah.
Just a little something I put together.
Oh, it's fantastic. Alex, what do you got next?
All right. Well, I have hey Jason. All right. There we go.
Back to the scores.
It takes a minute to squat screen, so fuck off.
No, this is great because it's just great. Rob, just know that we appreciate you.
No, it's just
So
Right.
I've talked about this next, not necessarily band or artist, but a label. More recently, I think people in the States who buy a lot of records online might have heard of Plaid Room Records, which is sort of a huge online. It's funny, they're more known online than they are as like a local record store, and they're a great local record store. But Plaid Room Records is out of Loveland, Ohio, which is just outside of Cincinnati. So it's about an hour and a half or so away from me. And along with Plaid Room is they have a partnering or a record label they started several years ago called Coal Mine Records that specifically specializes in soul, funk, jazz,
Delva.
independent artists. And so, you know, they have like some bigger names. So like, you know, like the Black Pumas were one of their like, you know, original sort of client, you know, artists. And they sort of blew up. But really they are an indie label. Like they're not, you know, a label for like these huge famous artists. But what's really just cool about it is you have this record store that's local. They have a label, and they really bring a lot of, I think, light and attention to a lot of these really cool artists who are doing a lot of really cool stuff in 2023 for music that's not really popular in these times. And so it's a goal of mine in 2024 to get all of their releases. They probably do like one release a month, but I'm kind of backtracking a little bit into 2023. And so it really started, I've shown this before, but it really started, I guess, several months ago with the Delvon Lamar organ trio.
Yes.
Or D-Lo 3, as the kids on the street call them. Again, this was their debut back in 2015, and I'm not a huge hype sticker person. In fact, I've kind of like gotten away a little bit from keeping the hype stickers on, especially if it's a gatefold, because the whole point of the gatefold is that you open it up and like look at it. But I don't know, their hype stickers just like stand out to me, so I keep them on. But you know, I've said this again before, like Booker T and the MGs for sure, the Meters, like all that classic sort of soul, psychedelic soul, funk stuff, jazz stuff is just clear. So this was the first one I picked up, and then again it was like, well, you know, I kind of wanted to see what else is out there, and I visited their website and checked out some stuff. This is a wild, wacky record. This is from the Black Market Brass. I always love this too, because on the hype sticker they'll give you like the very, very brief blurb of what you're actually buying here. And so this is a heroic dose of hallucinatory Afro psych.
Wow.
And it is just, I mean, this is jazzy, but it's like sci-fi, it's spacey, it's out there. It's on this cool, I think they call it anti-freeze green. Like,
Wow.
it is just, and that's the other thing too. And you know,
What is that?
people
I
are-
gotta write that down. What is it?
so this is the Black Market Brass is the name of the group, and the name of the record is Hawks or Hoax, Hox.
Hot market what?
So this Black
Can't
Market
make them
Brass.
any bigger.
Black market.
Black Market Brass.
I guess because it's I'm getting the light in it.
Sorry, it's
Black
Probably.
market. I can't see where that's. Oh, they're down the side.
that's
Duh.
sorry.
Black market brass. Oh, okay. I have one of their albums. They got another album.
They got a couple. You have one?
Yeah, I got one. They're like a 10-piece band or something, and they play.
Yeah. They're out of Minneapolis, I think.
Yeah. Steve Carlson turned me on to that band a few years ago.
Interesting. I might have to catch up with Steve about that, because I mean, it's like, you know, something like this, like the stuff, they're limited to like 1,500 copies each. I mean, they're not
Wow.
widely, you know, out there. But these two, I'm really excited about. These two, I just picked up actually today. This is a band or a group called the Ironsides. Changing Light is the name of the record. And again, love this. A lush soundtrack of atmospheric instrumentals. This is like soundtracky, orchestrated type stuff, but also still soulful. Like it's kind of weird. Again, they all go back to this sort of like soul, funk, jazz sort of bass. And I will say I love this wax here. But like the cool part is like, you know, this is, you know, I think this was $18. You know, it's like in the world of new vinyl these days and getting into stuff like this is like, you know, 18 or 20 bucks or something like that. And then last was a band called, or a group called Okonski. This is Magnolia. This is a jazz trio, so just piano, upright bass, and drums. Very, not comparing the two, but like if you're like a Bill Evans fan, Bill Evans trio type stuff, this is up there as well. But piano-led, spiritualized jazz from dusk till dawn. So, yeah, love this stuff. Anything. So if you're interested in anything from Coal Mine Records, again, Coal Mine is a part of Plaid Room. At least in the States, they do free shipping on anything over $50. I have no idea what the shipping rate stuff looks like up in Canada, because I know we got a lot of Canadian viewers. but-
$76.
Well, yeah, no, that's not.
I don't know. I'm making it up.
It's probably 78 though.
Probably
And
U.S. plus tax.
yeah,
Duties.
what's cool too is if you do go to like the Coal Mine website and you check out the different artists there, they have like you can listen to the artist like on their website, you know, 30-second to a minute blurbs or whatever to see if it's something you're interested in. So yeah, they've been sort of like that whole label has just been a great obsession. They're local. It's cool. It's independent. It's just been something I've really been gravitating towards recently. I've been loving it. So
Plot Room is my go-to place because I work on record store days, like Black Friday especially. I mean, like they usually have Black Friday or they have record store day on that Saturday, and then usually Sunday morning, like at 8:00, local time for Plot Room, they'll open their online shops.
Yep.
I always start there, and then I go to Bull Moose up in Maine.
Yep.
And then from there, I just kind of scour the internet. But they're very cool.
Yeah.
All right,
support
Sam,
that,
what are you-
Alex.
what are you
Buy
spinning
some more
next,
coal
Sam?
mine.
This album, I spun just before. It had been since June since I spun this album, and it's it's going to be in my list of favorite albums of 2023 here in the next couple of days. But I know it's been advertised by a lot of guys in the VC because our buddy Matthew Street has really been pushing it. But it's going to be the Midnight Callers, Rattled Humming Heart. I know Glenn got a copy. A ton of people.
I got it.
Matt has a lot of end with these guys. They're kind of to his area up in New England. They're out of New York City is where they're based out of, but they tour mostly in the Northeast. But this album is their second effort. They've done some other, they had their first album called Red Letter Glow, which was pretty good. And then they had a couple of, because they're on Jim Records, and Jim Records have done some tribute albums to guys like Pete Townsend, Brian Wilson, and Ray Davies. And they do a song or two on each of those albums. But this is their second full-length album. And I'm going to tell you, this album is so good. I mean, you can eat this thing up. I mean, I know Alex has kind of been messaging me back and forth about Velvet Crush. And Alex, because, I mean, this album, if you like this album, Velvet Crush is the next thing that you need to take.
Oh, yeah.
This thing it's got mixes of Cheap Trick. It's got Big Star. Even the first track, New York Tramp, even has like a little bit of Thin Lizzy kind of guitar solo with like the Boys Are Back in Town kind of sound to it. But I mean, these are just quick little 2-3 minute pop rock tunes. It's power pop. It's like you can just eat everything on this record up. I mean, they do one acoustic song on here called Maggie, which is kind of very similar to like 13 by Big Star. Just a really, just tight harmonies. I mean, these guys obviously they're influenced by the Beatles, Beach Boys, people like that. But the music is very Big Star, very Cheap Trick. Yeah, fantastic stuff.
I get mega Cheap Trick from them. But it just, I was going to ask you if you knew, but James put it in there too. I always thought Midnight Caller, one of my favorite Badfinger songs of all time is Midnight Caller.
That's where they got it from.
Okay.
Badfinger. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And so as soon as I saw it, I was like, respect. Like,
yeah,
I fuck with the Midnight Caller. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this album you can get fairly cheap. I mean, it's on Jim Records label. It's on, a cool orange vinyl. And it's also on CD if you want to try that. And it's on streaming, but it's just, it's great rock and roll. It's a 70s rock record from 2023, really.
Yep.
And it's so fast paced. And like, it had been, like I said, it had been about 6 months since I spun it, and I put it on. I was just kind of laying here on the couch listening to it. I'm like, man, I forgot like how good that is. And so it's kind of making me readjust like my ranking for my year end listing. But Rattle Humming Heart, get it if you like, just great rock, power pop. It's fantastic.
All right. I'm up next, and I'm going to show 2 records. I'm going to dedicate these to Glenn.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It's ABBA.
Yeah.
Oh,
ABBA's greatest hit.
I didn't even know.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
I didn't even know.
Oh god.
That's
Dead
hilarious.
serious. I love ABBA. I think they're fantastic. I think Bjorn and Benny wrote absolutely perfect pop songs. And I have a bunch of ABBA albums, so I don't need the greatest hits. But I was the wife and I were at a antique market a week or so ago, and this is in fantastic shape and cost me all of about $3. I'm like, well, shit, I've got most of the ABBA albums, so I'll throw this on the pile.
You got ripped off. You overpaid.
Come on now. And so I've been listening to it a lot, and we were listening to ABBA in the car because my son loves it. So That's one. I show that one which Glenn hates, so that I show this one which Glenn likes.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
There's an artist. So we all have some artists that maybe for one reason or another we just haven't got into. And Bruce was one of those guys. It's not that I didn't like him. I never bothered to explore his music and, laugh at me all you want because, he's a mammoth icon in popular music and deservedly so. I just never found an on-ramp that appealed to me. Well, I've got a bunch, 3 or 4 Bruce records now because, again, they were at the antique market and I paid, $5 or whatever. So I've got obviously Born in the USA and I've got Born to Run and I've got this. So I'm like, well, I've heard this talked about, so I'm going to start here. Didn't know anything about the album. I freaking love this. Fantastic goddamn record. And I listened to it like 5 times in the first 2 days and I go, now I understand why people love Bruce Springsteen. So I'm starting to delve into other stuff. I heard Nebraska a while ago. I mentioned when I was at one of my locals and I was blown away by that. So I got to find a copy of Nebraska, but I got to say that I really missed out by just not putting forth the effort to dive in. I just, because I would hear modern day Bruce and I just thought his voice just kind of sounded a little shitty and I just, whatever. I just never got, but boy, was I missing out because this is goddamn fantastic.
That's a great record.
There you go.
Absolutely. Love that.
What are we saying here?
Robert, do you need to
Trevor's
go
got
backwards
some
now
good
and get all
stuff
the
in the
other
chat
stuff, or
there.
what?
What's that?
You need to go backwards and get all the other stuff now?
I don't know that I'm going to get all the stuff, but I will. I still got to digest a couple others that I've gotten. I got to get a copy of Nebraska, and then I'll sort of figure out where to go from there. But
The River.
I have the River too. And the reason I got the River is when I did those interviews with my buddy Bob, he raved about that record. So I bought that one and I listened to it once, but didn't give it the attention it deserved. So I'm on a bit of a Springsteen exploration right now.
That's
So,
awesome. That's so
Yeah.
exciting because when you start a new artist and they have such a deep catalog already, it's like, wow,
I know, that's great.
There's no way I can go wrong.
That's the best when you find an artist like that you haven't really paid much attention to, and they've got like a wealth of albums, and it's just so cool.
yeah, it's kind of exciting. And I kind of feel, I almost feel like an imposter, right? Because I'm on YouTube talking about records and I'm dick all about Bruce Springsteen, and I should know more about
Yeah,
Bruce
there's a
Springsteen.
ton of bands and artists
Well,
like that.
right.
We
There's
all
so
have
many. We all have them, and that
Yeah.
was mine. So I'm glad that I've corrected that. And yeah,
Okay, wait, pause. Okay, so that's Rob's. Alex, what's your artist that you don't know anything about that you feel you should know
Ooh, good
something
topic.
about?
Oh God.
Just off the cuff, like whatever. It doesn't even have to
Yeah,
be
I don't know
like
if I could answer that off the top of my
Rob,
head.
okay, Sam.
And I will say, not as a cop out, but I will say too, of like, that's been an intentional effort for me over the last several years, has been, who are those artists and why have you not checked them out, and make an effort to check them out. So
Yeah.
unless it's completely out of my like genre, like passions, like in terms of like classic artists or those types of things, I mean, I feel pretty good about that,
Why
but
don't
I would also
we-
need some time to think about it.
Why don't
Just
we save
polite
that
way of
for-
saying I know
save that for
everything,
next
so.
week. Save
I know
it for
everything.
for another topic, and then we would put the parameters on the topic of it has to be an artist that you don't like. It's up to you, the honor system, that you don't know a lot about, but it has to be an artist that has at least, I don't know, we can figure this out in a side chat later, but maybe they already have 8 or 10 albums out, or you can measure it by length of career in years.
we
But
should
let's save
let's do that.
topic.
because then the other folks on the panel that do know that artist could offer some guiding words of where to go.
Future
So,
discussion.
Oh,
Artists
that's our
that you
topic.
don't know a lot about.
Taylor Swift.
You're welcome.
Alex and I got that one down pat.
We
It's gotta be
got you
something you're
down.
interested in, though.
We
Okay.
got
Yes.
that.
All right. Next.
Of course, Roy has seen Bruce Springsteen. Not a surprise.
Good
Wembley.
comment.
Roy, I saw him too. Nah, 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 nah.
Music Sanctuary. His dad had some ABBA in the car.
Think about
There
that,
you go.
Glenn.
Here's the thing though about ABBA. I mean, well, this won't be a surprise, but ABBA has been one of those groups. They have completely superseded all generations, and they are popular amongst the teeny boppers today.
More
Like,
popular than they ever were.
I mean, the most popular. I have a couple of like local clubs around here where they bring in like hardcore punk bands. Like capacity is like 500. It's punk bands, it's hardcore bands, it's metal bands. They also like once a quarter will host Gimme Gimme Disco Night, and it's just an ABBA themed party, and it sells out every time of a bunch
Oh
of
my
college
God. I'd
students.
like to blow that place up. I could get rid of everybody that I don't like all in one building.
Jesus, Glenn.
Jesus, Glenn.
I might get this chat banned.
Disco and ABBA. That would just rid the world of everybody that.
ABBA's not disco though. They're not.
Oh,
No, yeah, it's not.
No,
like
I know,
but it's like they bring in the DJ, and the DJ
throw
does
the
whole,
Aerosmith fans in there too, and I can get rid of everybody. The world would be a better place.
My God,
It's
Glenn.
nice to know you want me dead twice, Glenn. Jesus.
Twice.
I hope you fall and break a hip or something.
Hey, that's me.
He did that back in
You
Florida.
just said you wanted me dead twice. You were going to blow me up.
Yeah, but I'm going to suffer with a broken hip.
Jesus Christ.
That's just cruel.
James said The Rising is a great later Bruce album. Never even heard of it.
Probably the
So,
best later Bruce album, I would
Well,
say.
and that
That's
song,
a
I mean, that was
wicked
such a
song.
great single because that was all about kind of like America and 9/11, post 9/11 stuff. Like,
Yeah.
The Rising itself is one of the best Bruce singles that
Yeah.
came out, and I think that came out in 2002, maybe.
I think if you get all the
Yeah.
albums from the first one up to Tunnel of Love, I think that's probably the key Bruce Springsteen albums. And after that, it's hit or miss.
I think another good Bruce, like a later Bruce song, was the song "Wrecking Ball."
I was going to say, I've heard good things about Wrecking Ball.
That's not a bad album either.
That's
Is that the one
about
that Miley did?
It's got some good songs on.
No, he wrote that about like the he sung it like at the tearing down of the original Giant Stadium, in the Meadowlands, and then it kind of he wrote it like 5 or 6 years before the album came out. But anyway,
All right. Do we have time for one more go around? We got 15 minutes.
Okay. I do want to mention though, like you talk about bands you ignored for years. So when Yes was first out in the early 70s, I had a core group of about 5 or 6 guys who all hung around together, and we all liked the same kind of music. And except for one guy, he fell in love with Yes, and we actually insisted that he trade in his man card. Like, we thought this is the worst garbage ever. Like, and I never listened to Yes except the songs you would hear on the radio or something. So I knew of those songs. I never listened to Yes until the late 90s, I'm going to say. So 20, 25, 30 years before.
Now you're a fanatic.
And then for some reason I thought I got to give these guys a shot. And I got the Yes album. And I listened to it and it freaking blew me away. I was just open-minded to it. And right away I went, what have I been missing for freaking 30 years? Like, this is just stupid. And I freaking loved it. And then got close to the edge. And now Yes is like top 5 band ever for me. But it just shows like I just had this blinders on. So that's one of the ones I had to look for.
Let's see if I can mute Alex here. Hold on. Mute. There we go. Alex
Yeah.
is now muted. He can't say
If you just
fly.
ignore him, he goes away. Okay, my last one for the night is going to be one that's come up with our album exchange thing we're doing on Larry Graves' channel with Steve from All the World's a Stage and Marsha P. and Larry Graves and myself and a guy named Chris Levine. And Marsha turned me on to this album, and I freaking love it. I am not a fan of grunge music. I don't like Pearl Jam. I don't like Nirvana. I didn't like any of that stuff because I can't
Jason's going to have a coronary now.
screaming banshee vocals drove me nuts. But a few years ago, Eddie Vedder was on a soundtrack album for a movie. It was about a guy who was
I
on
love
death
it.
row.
Into the Wild?
Glenn, you're throwing so much love at this album. It's great.
So now, Marsha said, listen to this Into the Wild album. And I freaking love it. It is incredible. It's all rootsy, banjos, mandolins. I mean, it's just real rootsy, folky. It's a great frickin' album. I absolutely love this. So this is one I just keep playing over and over and over. So
That song guaranteed is just like almost tear jerking. It is a friggin' masterpiece.
yeah, what a great album. Sam, you should check this album out. You'd love this.
I listened to it a few years ago. I have a buddy who wanted me to listen to it. I listened to it once. It did not do it for me. Like
Really?
it was just
You
one
need to try it
listen.
again.
You should try again. 'Cause-
Okay.
Sam, you should try again.
When
Sam,
I went
Sam
to
Sam should play those songs for me and make me cry.
Mm.
when I went to Sonic Boom with Brian and Chris got that on vinyl. It's not an authorized version. I guess not a
Sure.
bootleg. It'd be a pirated version, I guess.
Really?
But he found an unofficial release of that on
Oh,
vinyl.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, good night, everybody.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I gotta listen to you guys now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you go to your kids like piano recital. The kid's done. Then like, oh, I gotta wait for these.
Yeah,
other
you gotta go. You don't watch everybody else.
kids.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jason?
What do I got here? Did I show this like last week? Like I just
The
showed
last
this-
like 6 weeks, Jason.
Yes. Okay. Hold on. I can't get enough of this. I cannot get enough of Bob Seger. And this is an example of an artist that I never thought I'd give two shits about because I knew like
You're hardly know
the
her.
Night Moves hits. I knew the whatever, the radio hits. And when I first started collecting, it was just the albums that were, I know this guy. I'll take these albums home. And every album I listened to by the guy, I'd like it. I don't know what it is. The Detroit sound, like he's got so much influence from that the Motown feel to his music. I can't get enough of the Bob Seger system, and I spun this a lot. I spun the album Noah, which is I guess a pretty hard one to find, and I was lucky enough to get it. And so I put that on once, but I played that one a couple times over the last like 7 days. I can't stop playing that. However, I will say this: I wanted to show Glenn this. I wanted to show Glenn this album. I got this for Christmas. I already own the album, but I wanted this specific nerd audiophile pressing. Sure, say what you will. But I got the Speaker's Corner version of this.
Oh,
So original master tapes, mastering, Presta Palace and all this other good stuff. I haven't put it on yet. I haven't even spun it yet, but I can't wait to do the A/B like for what I can do. I'll see, and I can tell you I probably will keep both versions because it is probably a top 5 favorite album I own.
it's a
Period.
great album.
If not top 3. Like if I was my Firebox albums, this is one of them. And I don't know which copy it's going to be, but I couldn't wait to tell you about it.
Awesome.
It was a massive grail to get that pressing of that album.
Wow, really? That's very cool.
Yeah, I think tomorrow night I'll set aside some time and do a real thorough listen. of it.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
All right,
While
Alex,
Marcia
you're
was
up.
watching, Marcia was kind enough to gift me that album that we went
I
on
know.
the show
I know.
together.
Well,
Thank
in perfect timing, Glenn. Speaking of Marsha P, I'm going to talk about her favorite band. Kind of. This was something that was used in the CD or the album exchange that you all did. This band, Glenn was so kind to share his love for the band Dawes with Marsha P, and she hated it. But for me, this is another one of those.
Hold on a second. Is that because he told her to listen to Doom Scroller? Because I agree that album sucks.
What?
You guys don't have a fucking clue.
Oh, come on. You're a senile old goat.
Honest to God, like this,
That album,
like if it's not a 3-minute pop song, you don't want to listen to it. There's
I
some-
own more Dawes records than you do, and I freaking
got all
love
the
that
Dawes
band. But
records.
Doom's,
all the rest of them are 3 minutes pop songs.
they are
Like
not.
Jackson Brown.
Whatever.
That album's
Nothing is
fantastic.
wrong
The
as great
musicianship
Laurel
in that
Canyon
album.
rock.
Like the
Oh,
long
God.
extended little jammy parts are the best.
You
part
don't
of
know
the
what
album.
you're talking about.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Alex.
Go
I'm
listen
gonna
to your
mute-
ABBA Greatest Hits album.
I'm going to go
please.
mute Glenn because he's a senile old goat. Go ahead.
Listen, Rob, you guys don't have a fucking clue. What?
That's the new gift. Yeah.
You see what you started, Alex, you troublemaker?
I know. That's what I stir the pot. Okay, I'm a big Dawes fan, but truthfully, I am one of these people that's like, I'm really into their first like 4 or 5 records.
Right.
Those are all my favorites. So all your favorite bands, and I can't think of too many beers deep. But whatever the one is that has every a little bit of everything on it and all that type of stuff on it.
Nothing
Love
is
it.
wrong.
Yes, correct. Everything is wrong. Or yes. But this was another one of those random, again, Amazon things that popped up, and it was like this record is $10.72, and I was like, $10.72, and I can get it delivered for free tomorrow, and it's a Dodds album. I'm gonna grab it. This was their second. This one came out before Doom Scroller, so this is Good Luck with Whatever.
Yeah.
So this came out before Doom Scroller, so I think this was 2019, 2020. Rob got it up, so he's probably gonna go grab it.
I have it on
Yeah,
CD.
yeah.
I didn't own this record. I had kind of lost a little bit with them, but again, it was $10.72, so it was a no-brainer.
Do you notice why
Um,
mine's a little different than yours, Alex?
Yeah, some kid scribbled on
Your
it.
kid
Yeah.
scribbled all over it.
It's signed.
Some first grader drew a bunch of dicks on it, like whatever.
I don't want to host anymore. You guys are a bunch of assholes.
But, but here's the thing: is I sit here and I sit here and I say, well, I'm into their first like 4, then they kind of lost me, and I listened to this a couple of times over the last several days. And I really like this record. Actually, I sent Sam a message, and Sam's busy. He does the Christmas thing until like March, so he probably didn't. But Rob, tell me that you could not see Sam doing a version of St. Augustine at Night.
Absolutely.
That would just be like, I could totally see Sam doing that.
Sam could do that on the porch that he doesn't have.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Or in his hair salon.
Yeah.
But I love that, and I just love when Taylor, obviously lead, songwriter, singer, all that kind of stuff. To me, I love a lot of Boz stuff, but to me, when he goes sensitive storytelling, ballad stuff, it truly does hit me. Unlike very many other, it takes me to a place that I just sit there, and that song, St. Augustine at Night, is just. It's all about growing up, hometown, kind of where your life is going, where it's been. There's some lines there that just hit me. And yeah, but you know what? The rest of the record is really solid, really great too. So, something that I kind of going back to what we said before, I kind of wrote off as, I'm not really into their newer stuff. I'm not into their newer stuff, whatever. But I picked this up, spun it a few times, and I absolutely loved it. So, I don't think it's $10 anymore, but that was one of those deals that, so Good Luck with Whatever from Dawes from, I think, 2020, 2019, something like that.
20, around there.
Something like that.
2020, it looks like, yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get St. Augustine at Night, that song does get me. It
I
really
didn't
does.
listen to it.
Wow, fell off. St. Augustine at Night. Yes.
All right, Sam, what do you got?
I just posted a video today talking about my favorite cover albums of 2023 because I really like cover albums, and this one came out through Dual Tone, which if you know Magnolia Record Company, they kind of have a partnership with Dual Tone, but they did this compilation called Discovered and Covered. It's with a bunch of artists like the Lumineers, Shovels and Rope, the Lone Bellow, Langhorne Slim is on here. And they do all sorts of covers by, artists from the 60s all the way up. They do, like Zachary Williams does You Can Call Me Al.
I'm injured. Stop. Call an ambulance.
Gosh.
The hell did you do?
I picked a little scabby thing that was on my hand. All of a sudden I look down and go, oh my God, I lost a quart of blood.
I thought he got so enraged about Dawes that he punched something.
Glenn, your knuckle doesn't have a fucking clue.
Oh.
Dear Lord. Jeez,
If
are you
Lynn's
okay?
watching, Lynn, can you bring Glenn a Band-Aid?
You need to pour some Bob Dylan whiskey on it, Glenn.
Hey, $100 a bottle. I don't think.
Just grab that Doom Scroller cover and use it to soak up the blood.
Jeez.
Oh, you don't have a clue, Rob.
I
You
know.
know, if it took 2 clicks to make a clue, you don't even have a click.
Whoa.
Dang.
Jesus.
Love it.
But
I thought we were friends, Glenn.
We are. I love you.
Oh, okay.
that's why he hates you, because he loves you.
I love you so I can hate you.
Jesus.
But
I
this
like
is,
you like my ex-wife.
Oh,
Hey-oh.
Anyway, sorry, Glenn or Sam. Continue.
well,
Yeah, I
this-
thank you for apologizing, Rob. You needed to.
yeah, just
It's a Canadian way.
I've got blood and guts on the screen here. Yeah, but no, this
I
is
bleed for my art.
Tell
Right.
us about your record, Sam.
yeah. Forget about the record at this point. You know, just we've got Glenn poking himself.
Good night, everyone.
No, this is a really cool. It's a really cool covers album. I mean, it's got again Shovels and Rope doing "In My Room" by the Beach Boys. It has actually there's a group called the Trigger Code who I don't know anything about doing
Oh,
the song "Darkness on the Edge of Town," the Springsteen song.
I think I know that song.
To quote it, and then Shaky Graves does "Missing You" by John Waite. Angie McMahon does "Everywhere" by Fleetwood Mac. Again, Langhorne Slim does "Sundown" by Gordon Lightfoot. Just really, really cool stuff. Wilder Woods does "Bring It On Home to Me" by Sam Cooke. So it's just really, really cool artists that are all on the Dual Tone record label doing these great cover songs. And it's just really, really good.
I
It's
think
just a
I
really
would like
good covers
that.
album.
yeah, for sure.
So I mean, it's a cheap record too. I mean, it came out this year, but I mean, it's like $23 record. But and it's on a really cool like splatter
I love it.
vinyl there. So yeah, that'll be my my last one here.
Cool.
All
That's
right.
crazy. So Trigger Code, what did they cover there?
They do Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Oh wow. What
Yeah,
kind of version
so-
do they do of that? Like is it similar to Bruce's, or do they kind of change it up? Or
No, it's I mean it's pretty pretty haunting, you know.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
I was
it's-
at work. So Trigger Code. Here's a small story that goes nowhere. Thank you for listening. So I was at work one day and a guy was streaming the song. I'm like, what the hell is this? This sounds like right up my alley. A lot of acoustic guitar and droney kind of, maybe a drop D tuning or something. I don't know.
Ooh.
Anyway, so I Shazammed it or whatever, and it came up as a song called "The Fugitive Kind" by the Trigger Code. And the Trigger Code is like, I don't know anything about
Oh yeah.
them. It was so hard to find out any information about them. It sounds like it just comes down to like one guy who kind of did some things. Anyway, the song that Buddy was playing is only really known because it was used in an opening sequence of that show Shameless.
Oh.
And so that gave it some notoriety and some legs, and it kind of got out there. Anyway, I don't know anything about the group itself, but the Trigger Code's "The Fugitive Kind" is one of those songs that you discover, and then I streamed the shit out of that. Like, if every stream was a penny for the artist, then I gave that guy a couple $100 for sure. And I listened to it literally today, which is kind of funny that it got brought up. But anyway, carry on.
No, Jack. It's PBR, and when you're old enough, you'll understand
Asked. Yeah, that's right.
that when you're fat and unhappy and in your mid 30s and you're poor, as Jason and Sam like to say, you drink PBR. That's what you do.
You mean nasty.
All right. I'm up last. I'm going to show two because I want to show two. And I'm hosting, so I'm going to show two quickly. This finally arrived, which has been on my grail list forever. So this is the new reissue. She did not, in fact, lose her master tapes, which is good. So this was remastered by Bernie Grundman. Not that I'm an audiophile and can give two shits about it, but
It helps.
We love it.
it's great and it sounds really good. This is the colored vinyl version. It's on some kind of weird sort of blue, sort of marbly kind of vinyl, which is great. And the last one is something that's just odd. I was at somebody's place that I knew, and he had a box of records, and he goes, "I know you're a record guy. Here, you can have them." I took it, and as usually happens, most of it's garbage. But I was leafing through and found some stuff that I need, and I came across this record, Poco Legend. And this is all I know about Poco. Their first bass player, Randy Meisner, left Poco to join the Eagles, and he was replaced by Timothy B. Schmidt. And then when Randy Meisner left the Eagles, Timothy B. Schmidt left Poco to join the Eagles. That's all I know about Poco. But I'm like, well, maybe it's in the same, sort of sound. So I put this on, and this is, I guess, a later, it's from 78, when they went a little bit more mainstream, but knowing nothing about this is a really good record. And you could almost close your eyes and go, some of these really could be like deep cut Eagles songs. They really could be. So didn't know that I would actually, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not, but I'll listen to it. I'm going to keep it. This is actually quite enjoyable record that if you're an Eagles fan, I would go here. It's
same
quite
thing.
enjoyable.
Yeah. Their early albums are much more
they're more country than rock. But this is a little more rock than country.
They're really experimental. Like they do, like
Are they?
one of their albums, the self-titled album's got a song on the second side. It's like 15 minutes long. It's a big jammy thing. Like they were
Okay.
I see that shit everywhere. I haven't tried them
Really
out
good.
yet, but it's always in collections that come into my local record store kind of thing. There's tons of Poco out there.
Yeah.
According to Roy, a lot of people prefer Poco over the Eagles. So that cover was
Phil Hartman.
designed
No
by
way.
Phil Hartman. I didn't know that. Does it say
Wait.
that?
Oh, the
Wait a
Saturday Night Live guy?
The guy who was like murdered by his wife.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
so.
the man. Yeah.
Wow.
However,
She must not have been a Poco fan.
I guess not.
have you all seen Jingle? Have you all seen Jingle All the Way?
Yeah.
Like the Christmas movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Phil
Yeah.
Hartman.
Oh, with the stupid doll action
With the
figure?
First of all, his name's Turbo Man.
Right.
That movie is absurd. And it's so
Favorite-
good.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite-
Phil Hartman's in
favorite
that
Christmas
movie.
movie.
Right. All right. Couple last comments and we'll wrap this up. Jack the Music Guy says he listened to Joni Mitchell's Blue for the first time and it sounds like a mix of Harvest and Rumors.
Oh, that's nice to hear, Jack. It's
Yeah.
a great record.
Beautiful album. A
That
good Christmas
restores
song
my
delivered.
faith in some youth that people
Yeah.
Jack's age are listening to something
I
like
know.
that.
Jack's pretty cool dude.
Jack is a good dude.
How old is Jack? Do you guys keep referring to him as
18.
super young?
He's 18, I
Oh.
think.
Oh, Jack, I can't believe you're hanging out with us. Thank
Jack, have you
Feel
called
like-
Uncle Randy?
No,
yet?
Jack's like an old soul in a young man's body when it comes to music. He's pretty
That's
cool.
cool. I like that.
And James says Blue is such a great album, his favorite by a female artist. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful record.
there we go. 2 hours and 6 minutes. Does everyone want to? We'll go around the horn and everyone can kind of, maybe plug their channel, say what they got coming up. Jason, what are you gonna make a video sometime soon?
I know. I'm excited. I actually have a pretty positive feeling about making a lot of videos in the new year. I don't know what's gonna start with, but the first thing on my mind after listening to you guys comment on Jack is that I have one nephew, and my one nephew, I gave him a gift for Christmas. He just got into records, so my sister, her son, so she got him a record player, and so I bought him an album, and I bought him Fleetwood Mac Rumors, and I see that she's already posted something on Instagram about it.
Awesome.
Anyway, what a great album. Everyone loves Rumors. Everyone's sick of Rumors, but everyone still loves Rumors. And I gave him the audio file one, just so you know. And
Wow.
the 45.
What an uncle you are.
Anyway, whatever. No, nothing new channel wise. Still living this, and I'll be back next week for sure.
And in a couple of weeks, Jason and I are going to do our follow up to our album
True.
exchange.
Yeah, I got to revisit all of them because I haven't listened to them in about a week.
Me too. So we'll do that. Glenn, what do you got coming up?
What am I got coming up? I don't even know. I just put up 2 videos today, so I'm probably going to take I got to work tomorrow, so I'm going to rest tomorrow. And then Friday, I don't know, we're going to be doing our album exchange again on the weekend. I guess that's the most exciting thing. And Sam and I need to get together and figure out when we're going to do our Bob Dylan video. So that's a
Yes, we
chat
do.
that we have. We're going to do it live, but I don't know if it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be interactive, but we'll let you guys know.
Can we know what's the topic? Like, I know it's Bob, but like,
We're not sure yet. We were talking about doing our favorite song from each Dylan album. But
Good
I'm
call.
open to suggestions.
Go with that. That's super.
Just
cool.
a salute to Bob.
That would be 40 songs because we were talking about even like including like the covers albums, the Christmas album, and everything.
Yeah. So that's kind of what what we're thinking about right now. But if Sam comes up with something else, I'm open. So but
Because Glenn and I did our 80 favorite Dylan songs 2 or 3 years ago.
80 years old, we did a countdown.
Wow.
It was our
We
first
should-
time that we collaborated. Yeah.
You could rehash that and see how much it's changed.
Yeah. Well, Rough and Rowdy Ways wasn't out then, right?
No, Rough and Rowdy Wait. Yeah, that was the only one that was missing. So
Yeah.
that was like a 4-part series.
Yeah. We'll figure it out in the next couple of days. We got to do that.
Sam, what do you got coming up?
Well, I think we're still on the calendar, Rob. We have something coming up tomorrow.
We do. Why don't you tell everyone what we're doing, Sam?
Um,
Maybe don't give the topic away yet, but tell them what we're doing.
Well, I and Rob have been kind of talking. Actually, it was last week during the end of the stream last week. I texted Rob a suggestion for a podcast episode because I know you had asked me at one point during the when you did the Sugar Man episode if I'd seen it. And I hadn't seen the episode, so I wasn't able to participate in that. But we figured out a topic that we're going to do that involves, what we all love with record collecting. I'm gonna go into specifics, but we're gonna record an episode tomorrow on Rob's channel, and then that'll be out whenever Rob, cleans it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'll probably put the video up in probably maybe a week or so, and then it won't be on the podcast till probably middle of January because there's a few episodes queued up before ours. But I'll let you know when I get a firm date on it. But looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we have that. That'll be cool. That'll be my first time doing that with Rob. And then I am talking with, obviously Glenn just mentioned we have a project in the works for Dylan. I'm going to it's already scheduled sometime early January with Brian Massey over at Massey's Man Entertainment. We're going to kind of resurrect his series of is this album really that great, or does this album suck? So we have an album planned. I won't go into it. It was actually one of the albums that I had pulled for this episode, but I didn't show it tonight. But it's an album that him and I know quite well that we're going to do together. And then I am currently in the middle of my best of 2023, like everybody else. So I put up my favorite covers albums of the year earlier this evening. Yesterday I put up favorite reissues, and then I have my big, top 10 countdown, like the best albums of 2023. And then after that, I'm going to do kind of a year in review, talk about, what I listen to the most, kind of that kind of thing. Because I'm like Steve, I keep a spreadsheet of what I listen to. So I'm going to kind of roll through that and see what all is there to, interest the kind folks out there in YouTube. So got a bunch of stuff coming up between now and the beginning of January. And thank you to everybody that subscribed. I've picked up 50 subscribers in the last 12 days.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Good for you. We got to get Rob to 1,000.
Yeah, we do.
Please, if anybody's watching and is not a subscriber,
21 away.
what are you doing?
Oh,
Let's go.
so you picked up 2 then on the stream.
I have, yeah. So thank you.
Awesome.
But it's his stream, so they already are subscribed to him.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Love to
What do
see
you got?
it before the calendar strikes 2024.
Well, you know what? My eye on the prize is I think the 27th or something of January will be my 2-year anniversary. So on YouTube. So I'd like to hopefully pass that milestone before the 2-year mark. So
That's
yeah.
great. That's pretty good. 1,000 in 2 years is pretty good.
Yeah, because I'm 3 years out.
You should be proud of that. That's really good.
I am proud. It's been a lot of fun. So
That's growth.
what do you got coming up, Alex?
Just putting off a bunch of stuff. Basically, Jason is so inspiring that's hard not to be impacted by his approach to YouTube.
You know what they say? Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow?
That's what I tell myself all the damn time. But I will say, to Sam's point too, I will be doing. My goal is to do my top 10 favorites of 2023, and then I'll probably do the only other 2023 related video I think I might do, but I have to sort of obviously do some work with it, is just my favorite finds or pickups or something like that. I don't know exactly what I'll do, but sort of a difference between new releases versus, hey, what's just some really cool stuff I was able to pick up that I'm really excited about still. Yeah, that's about it. I'm I'm at 171 subs. So we're keeping it rolling. We're chasing Jason. Chasing Jason. That's all we do.
Every milestone, man. It all feels good.
Right on.
Well, as for me, I don't think I'm going to do any year-end roundup videos. Lots of folks have done them. I don't know that I really have anything of substantive value to add to that. Anything that I would show, I've already talked about anyway. So, I got the episode coming up with Sam for the podcast. Jason and I will have our album exchange coming up in a couple of weeks. I got to come up with something else in between then. So,
I think next week our theme should be we'll spell records with the room doom scroller.
Christ. I'm not spelling nothing. All the spelling, I'm not doing it. I'm out.
Spell misadventure with doom scroller in records.
Jesus. All right. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks, guys.
That's been fun. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week on Glenn's
Happy New
channel.
Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right, everybody.
y'all.
Have a good night.
See y'all.